Hello, hello, and welcome to Occult Chat Episode 2. I'm your host, Alex Harper, and I am joined by my co hosts, Cooper and Hope. Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
Hi, doing good. Excited to talk about initiations.
Yeah, it's been a weird week. Lots of strange horse related coincidences in my life. I don't know about the rest of you, but very eager to jump into the conversation and very excited to meet our guest who I have been vaguely aware of, but this is our first time interacting in any kind of meaningful way. Been a lot of fun, and I think the audience is going to love you. So, Alex, you want to tee her
Yes.
up?
Yes. It is our pleasure, our honor to introduce the one and only Occult Hours. Uh,
Thank you so much for having me on here, you guys. I'm also honored to be here. I go by Dabby, and I'm the creator and practitioner behind OccultHours.
Yeah, nice to have you on. Yeah, Dabby,
Thank you.
great. And she's a great magic practitioner. I've seen your setup and all of you have like practically have an apothecary at your house. All these herbs labeled, different things. So, yeah, uh, she is very good. And if you are in the shop for a witch, for hire, contact Dabby. All right, so we've got a great show lined up for you tonight, and we're going to talk about initiation, right? This is something you may have heard about if you are, looking at anything occult related at all. Like everyone talks about initiation, but not everyone explicitly lays out what an initiation really is, and then. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna start with tonight, and share some stories of our own initiations. Um, so yeah, glad to have everyone here, and looks like we're getting some viewers joining. We have some people in the chat already. The Nemetron says, "I'm interested to see where this goes," and someone else is saying, "Yay!" So hi guys, how are
Hi,
you guys
Hi.
doing?
Tasha. Hi, Nematon. Thanks for joining.
Um, well, Dabby, why don't you first tell us a little bit about you and yeah, what you have to say
Okay.
about initiation.
Um, okay, shit, straight into it. Okay. So obviously I think there's like two different kinds of initiation as well. Um, but overall I think that like initiations are technically done by spirits instead of people, but that initiations can also be a shift in consciousness.
So, like,
So,
yeah, a lot of times initiations put you in touch with spirits, right?
yes. Or it's the spirits that are trying to put you in touch with like a current or a stream, a source of like energy, magic, you know.
Cooper, you seem like you have something to say about this.
No, actually, I kind of want to take maybe like two steps back in terms of questions, just because I'm the odd man out here, right? So Debbie, can you tell us just a little bit broad strokes, like what when you talk about magic, when you talk about how you practice or what you would view yourself kind of initiated in, where on the rainbow of types of magic would you put yourself? Kind of help me and the audience figure out
Okay.
where we're at.
Okay. I think at first I really considered myself kind of like an eclectic witch, really just solitary practitioner. But then, I was studying all these traditions on my own, like Golden Dawn work, and none of it really made sense besides like the historical stuff, like with Crowley and Mathers and all the drama. And basically, I was selling a bunch of skull candles to one of the shops out here, and I like overheard them talking about Golden Dawn, and then we just started debating about stuff. And then he was talking about how well, it was we were debating about John Dee and Edward Kelly actually, and
Ooh.
then he was like, "I'm teaching classes on ceremonial magic soon," and I was like, "I want to join, and I want to like learn as well because I've never learned in a formal setting, even though I have all this like shit to talk." Uh, and he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure," because he figured I already knew a lot, but I didn't. Um, so yeah, when I joined that class, a few classes in, he decided to initiate us. So I got initiated into the Golden Dawn. I mean, at that time, it wasn't an official Los Angeles location, but after I left, it became an official order, official Los Angeles lodge.
So for
Nice.
those unfamiliar, the Golden Dawn is kind of it's an order that's goes back to the 19th century and England, and many kind of famous magicians have been involved with the Golden Dawn in some aspect or another. Aleister Crowley, Kenneth Grant, others people have been involved in the Golden Dawn, and it's kind of a lot of chapters all over the world, and some of them may or may not be official with the official lineage of the Golden Dawn. It kind of like
Yeah.
after it died the first time, then there's like these various other offshoots of it, and so yeah. But this is, for those unfamiliar, a lot of like kind of Western occultism in the modern day is the Golden Dawn is very prominent in being one of the most accessible, right, and public. So
Yeah.
you found out that he was involved in this, and then what happened?
Um, well, we all got initiated, me and the entire class. Um, but at the time, I had no idea like how serious, I guess, an initiation was, or like how serious I should have taken it. Like to this day, I think where I was at, I was ready for whatever. I just wanted like more experience from like uh people that are actually in the community and have been in the community. There was like an adeptus minor or whatever that was working at that shop, and he would substitute sometimes. And he had also worked up the inner orders of the OTO and like also with the Golden Dawn, but ultimately left all of it because he said it's all like a battle of egos, and he's like, that's not what he's about. Um, but
OTO,
yes,
Ordo Templo Orientis.
yes,
It's Crowley's offshoot of the Golden Dawn.
yeah.
And then
Got
it becomes
it.
Thelema. But they're different, but
Yeah. No, he would
like
sub for
varieties of
us.
apples.
He was our substitute, and every time he was our substitute, we would do what you do in high school where you like ask all the questions when the teacher isn't there, like about all sorts of stuff. So we asked him all sorts of stuff. He's still to this day one of the most like the most favorite, I guess, teachers I've ever met. But yeah, ultimately like when we got initiated, like we weren't told like, oh, when you initiate into something, like those gods become your gods, and then you get tied into the current. And if you're initiated with other people, you also get energetically tied together. So again, I went into this like having that already kind of in the back of my head, but all of these people were noobs. Like just took witchcraft class before the ceremonial class.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so we all like, I didn't even realize what was going on. He's just like, yeah, we're gonna get initiated. Again, didn't think it was anything. And then yeah, we all got these robes, we all got red socks. Um, we all just went on a certain day that he said to go. He got a bunch of people to basically play the parts. Like there's supposed to be like a Hierophant, and I forget like the other one's the Hermit. Uh, yeah, all that
I'm like
stuff.
the Rider
So yeah,
Waite.
you can literally yeah. So
Okay, Rider Waite
you
tarot
can
card deck.
technically find these initiations online. Like they literally have the scripts online. And I knew that because before I joined, or really before I took the classes, I had already like skimmed all of these documents. They just didn't make sense because I was never initiated. So
That kind of sounds scary, honestly.
it
Like
is.
you
I mean
just going in for like a class, and all of a sudden you're like wearing a robe and like
yeah.
red socks, and with like all these strangers and like reciting spells together. That's like
Yeah.
I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? I just wanted to learn some magic.
Dude, it wasn't even just that. It wasn't even just that. So, okay, we go in, right? He's like, all right, you got your robes, all this. Okay, you're gonna meditate for like an hour in his like huge red
For an
room.
hour?
Yeah, we're like, what the fuck? I was like, shit, dude, I'm gonna fall asleep. Like, oh shit.
I'm gonna fall
Um,
asleep. I would too. I'd fall
Yeah.
asleep after like 30 minutes. I'm a Taurus. I'm just like, I love to sleep. I'm out.
No, I have a funny story about being in the Order 2 and falling asleep during one of like the class astral projections. But anyways, okay. So like yeah, we're supposed to meditate for the hour, and they're just gonna call people in groups. So we're literally getting initiated in groups of 3 to 4, which in
Uh-huh.
general, I believe traditionally you're supposed to get initiated one by one, if
Hmm.
anything, or if anything individually. So I did not know this at
Huh.
first.
Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, I've never. Yeah. I this is all new to me, by the way. So this is like,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Again, now they're actually an official lodge, so I'm sure they have to follow like actual rules. But they also,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I don't think they really care because they care about the money. And originally, when I was there, we were telling him not to. We were telling the teacher, like fuck the Golden Dawn, like don't let them like sell you out because they just want the money or they want the exposure. Because he did have a pretty good store and all this whatever going on.
I have
But
a
they did it
question.
anyways. Yeah.
Sorry. When you say a lodge, do you mean like so the Golden Dawn is like some ceremonial magical tradition? And then like is there like people at the top? Is it like kind of like secret society? The way that I imagine a secret society is that there's like these people at the top, and then there's all these different branches like across the country or across the globe, and like each of those branches like practice that type of traditional like the magic of that tradition. Like, is that what that is?
Yeah, so if you think about like the Roman Catholic Church, pretty much like how they
Mm-hmm.
have the Vatican and then they have a bunch of other churches, like different locations that you can go to. That's pretty much like to me, that's what I consider the lodges.
Okay. Okay.
So, yes to Pumpkin Spice's question. If you wanted to be more specific, one of the other distinguishing elements of like a lodge versus like a parish priest is the lodges themselves are relatively independent. They're part
Yes.
of the overall group, but like to Dabby's point, where like don't bend the knee, kind of it's each order really is its own thing, and so or each lodge is its own thing
Oh, okay.
within the greater order. So it's kind of like how it is literally a fraternity. So the
Yeah.
best way to look at it is like frats. So different universities might have the same fraternity, but they're different chapters. Those chapters are lodges. And so they have their own hierarchies. They have their own internal magical hierarchies, their own workings, but then feeding up to the higher ups is the idea. But sort of what Crowley did and his whole break with all of them was basically saying, but wait, we're at the top. Why are we like, I'm going to be in charge? And they're like, well, no, I'm in charge because I made up the letters from the secret masters. Because
Right.
well, I topped you in the desert and talked to the super intelligence.
Oh,
And
shit.
then, she went crazy.
That's basically just evolves into a magic dick measuring contest.
Yes, yes.
Every single time.
Yeah, every time. Like without fail.
Okay, that makes a lot
Yes.
of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, Magicitis
And
is very
splinter
real.
groups and splinter groups, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some
The
people
golden
Got it.
I
yeah.
mean, Crowley should be commended for how long he was able to keep his magical order together, right? Like, compared to some of his contemporaries, like, Julius Evola, I mean, his group blew up like just a few years later, massively in his face. Whereas Crowley was able to keep the group going until he died, basically, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they funded him till his death, which is kind of the goal.
Yeah.
I would say Hubbard obviously was his better successor, but
Yeah, Hubbard's,
better, big quotation marks on
he
better.
was more
Right,
More
right. L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology. Right. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I always, I have no idea how Scientology, and that's like a whole another like episode to talk about Scientology. But like L. Ron Hubbard's connected to Aleister Crowley because of like Jim Parsons, right? So Jim
Jack.
Parsons was like Jack Parsons, right? Because Jim Parsons actually the guy who plays Sheldon in The Big Bang
Yeah.
Theory, and
Correct.
right, and then Jack Parsons is the JPL astrophysicist who also practiced like thelemic magic and was like obsessed with like Thelema. and had his own chapter, right, in Pasadena,
Yeah,
and L. Ron Hubbard was like his
Yes.
assistant.
and Parsons
Okay.
was, you know, yeah.
So
he
that's literally Agape Lodge was Parsons' chapter. So he literally ran a lodge of the OTO.
Got it. Okay.
And Crowley was stoked because he was like, "Oh my God,
Mhm.
someone actually has money! Fuck yeah!" And then they all pissed it
Right.
away in like 10 years.
Yeah.
It was
And
brutal.
then they blew up Parsons.
Yeah, and Parsons' lab
Yeah.
exploded in a mysterious fashion, right? But
Mysterious.
you know, he was, yeah. Well,
It turns out you really do need to dismiss those elementals, man.
Not a good thing to say in the occult community. Mystery, we're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna make it really, really complicated and sell books about it.
Okay,
So-
sorry. I totally
Oh,
when
yeah,
we went off the
No.
rail. You were talking about the Golden Dawn and how
Oh
you
shit.
were a part of
Yes,
the
so-
lodge.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so far we've been talking about, you know, Dabby's initiation into the Golden
Mhm.
Dawn, or I guess, well, it was
I
sort
won't
of
get
an-
off track this time.
you didn't actually go through with it all the way, though, did you?
No, I went through with it.
Oh,
Oh,
you
you
did.
mean like I only moved up, so I went up to Zelator,
Right.
so the second degree. But I basically went through. I mean, it's too late. Like, literally, we got hoodwinked. They're like, "All right, you guys ready?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be cool. Whatever's going on." And then we okay, we get hoodwinked.
We listen,
Our
we
waists
don't
are
judge.
tied.
I had some
Yes.
I had a lot of confessions in the pre-call, so I gotta be good.
Yeah. Look, let's just say it was a great learning experience, and I have no regrets because I did go into it knowing. That's why the teacher was like, "Are you sure? It seems like you already know." And I was like, "Well, I haven't had official training or learning, and if I'm gonna hate on the Golden Dawn, I need to know that I can hate on it." And then I found out like, "Oh shit, this stuff works." Uh, anyways,
That's
yeah.
really
So
cool.
yeah, for the initiation, we all meditated. They pulled us out like 4 at a time, 3 or 4 at a time. Um, and we were hoodwinked and our waists were tied together, so we were actually getting pulled and we
Whoa.
couldn't see.
That's so scary.
Yeah,
Holy
but the
shit.
idea, so the
Really cool at the
idea,
same time.
I think people who've gotten initiated might be looking at me sideways, the Nemeton, because I probably shouldn't be talking about it, but just to make a note, I did leave the order in a certain way and made a certain deal, so I have a loophole. But yeah, okay, so we're getting pulled around and now we have to make a bunch of oaths. So this is where it gets scary because they didn't tell us that we were going to have to make these oaths. And so there comes a point where we're basically still hoodwinked, still being pulled by our waist. We're forced to kneel. There's a sword put to the back of our neck, and then we're told, you know, like if we break the orders, if we break the rules of the lodge or the order, then Archangel Michael's sword is going to strike down on us. Do we agree? And you're like, yes, I do. You're already there.
Yes,
You're
I
already
do.
there. Yeah, no, you're literally already there. So it's just like, oh, fuck. So you're like, yeah. And then after that, I mean, I'm not explaining all of the dynamics, but after that, you know, we get pulled around a little longer. The hood's taken off, and the rope is also untied, and it's supposed to represent. So first, our waist is untied, and that's supposed to represent like represent us no longer being pulled by the invisible like currents and tides of the universe. And then when they take off the hood and we can finally see again, it's supposed to represent us finally being able to see the light or be able to search for it. And before they even take all of those things off, they say that we're just shrouded in darkness, I think, like reaching for light. And so yeah, when they take it off, we're supposed to be reborn anew, and then we're given names, taught handshakes, and yeah, basically initiated.
Wow. Thank you for sharing your story, by the way. That's like, yeah, that's so, it's on. Also, I'm kind of like romanticizing it. That's kind of cool. I don't know, just like someone who's like really into like magic and the occult and stuff, and like has grown up watching and like listen and like watching a lot of like conspiracy theory videos and like movies and stuff. I'm just like, it's kind of sick, but also scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that it's a pretty mild one, like, out of all the
Mhm.
ones that you would, like,
Really?
join. Yeah, like, out of all the ones that I would join, because I have tried to initiate into other currents like Palo Mayombe, and I put my deposit down, all that stuff, and then I backed out last second. And I told my spirits at that time, I said, "I'm gonna do this no matter what. So if you don't want me to do this, you have to make it apparent as day. Like you have to actually physically stop me." So then my ankle was sprained the next day.
As it should have been, and you're lucky you didn't break
Yeah.
both your damn legs. If
Wow.
I were your guides, I would have mercied
Yeah.
your ass.
No, so
You would have been hobbit.
yeah.
You would
So
be
my
in bed forever.
mentors. Oh my
We do not
god.
fuck with Palo Mayombe.
I know, but the guy was willing to do it. I was like,
Yeah,
whatever.
because
And
he's
my
gonna
mentors were
fuck you
pissed.
over.
Okay, so
Yeah,
can
no,
we explain to
exactly.
the
Exactly.
audience what this is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm lost too.
What
Me and the
Not
audience are lost.
I
initiations.
love
Let's
this
start there.
stuff. Okay, so Palo Mayombe is pretty much an African traditional religion that well, witchcraft.
Kinda.
It's like necromancy. A practice
Okay.
of necromancy
Broad
uh
strokes.
of
You
bones
have
and yeah.
you make a
Yeah.
spirit, and
Wait, you
that's
make a
enough.
spirit like the
Yes, and
initiate
that's
makes a
enough.
Yeah,
spirit?
yeah.
And
Okay.
that's enough that you need to know. It is a
Yeah.
very, very powerful form of magic, but it sort of inevitably you have to always kind of keep feeding it is the
It is
problem, the
dangerous.
core of it, and so it can sometimes become a bit extreme.
Yeah.
Why is it dangerous to make a spirit?
Let's talk about it on a not
There's
on a
another day.
I mean,
Okay,
long
another
story short,
episode.
not trying to
yeah.
piss off some papa.
Okay.
Like we can
Okay,
just,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
true,
okay.
true.
I've pissed off
True.
enough Palo Mayombe practitioners in
Oh,
my
okay.
life
Let's not do
that
that
I'm
then.
not
Okay.
about trying to go down that road.
Well, anyways, yeah, I was trying to do that, and I was trying to initiate into that. My ankle was sprained. I had like plane ticket booked, deposit made, and I was like, you know what, this is actually a sign. My mentors that I've been with since the beginning of time, who've like that I've apprenticed with, seen actual experiences with, of all cases, were like begging me not to do it as well. So I should have probably, taken that as a sign, and I didn't. But yeah, there obviously is a lot of more serious stuff to it that I guess I probably shouldn't talk about on stream either now that you bring it up.
The chat is cracking me up, by
We
the
do
way.
have some comments
Yeah.
from the
Oh yeah,
audience.
because
The
chat
chat.
knows. Chat
The
knows.
chat is hilarious right now.
So, this
Great
comment
point,
says, it's
though.
good to remember that the OTO existed before Crowley took over it.
Yeah.
It's true anyway that Crowley transformed it and gave it its actual shape. The order that Crowley founded is the AA. So
Wait, Alcoholic Anonymous?
No.
Oh,
It's named AWAS, and I don't remember what the other A.
yeah,
I know
I'm
AWAS
laughing
is the
'cause
spirit he's conjuring. AA is why when I last week I was like, oh, I think I might know where this is coming from.
yeah, it's the being that looks like the gray alien. Yeah,
oh
Like
yes,
AWAS.
yeah.
yeah. Okay,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
this
The
person,
alien-looking being that he conjured, right?
Ascendant asks, what happens if they kill you, like during an initiation?
Oh no,
Possible?
no.
It's like, well, yeah, I think you
They're
would
not gonna
be.
do that.
Yeah,
If
I
you
mean,
die, oh sorry, go for
I
it.
don't know. I mean, they could
Look
I
up the
guess
Order
they
of the
could
Solar
charge you
Temple.
with murder.
Yeah,
Right?
you'll definitely be charged with homicide.
Yeah.
If you want to look up a fun occult order that literally burned itself out, the Order of the Solar Temple would be fun to check out.
Okay.
There's a bunch. You'll find a ton of podcast movies. Like basically, a bunch of rich Europeans got hoodwinked by two Canadian New Agers into bankrolling their lifestyle until they burned themselves all in an attempt, I think, to become the new Templars or something. Like I don't remember the exact great working there, but they did it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they did it. They did
So that's
it.
why when I say like that's a super mild initiation, it really is. Like
It
nobody
is.
tried to light you on fire.
No.
Nobody beat you. You weren't like
No.
No, I
nothing
would have been
like
beat if I did the other one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you
yeah,
know,
and worse.
I
But
know.
Having
was
having
down.
done initiations myself, I will say
Oh, well, the other one that I got recently in Thailand, he tattooed my head, and I did not know that I was walking into that either. So it's
Oh, okay. We got to hear this story. All right.
oh
Yeah.
my god. Okay,
I
so I
heard
went to
this, by the
Thailand
way,
last
over the
year.
weekend. It's really good.
Yeah. I went to Thailand last year in November. Um and like I just had a few connects. I didn't go there with any like solid plans like, oh, I was gonna get initiated here. I was just thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna go interview these ajans. And if you don't know what ajans are, they're master teachers, and that could be master teachers of anything. But typically when we're talking about it in Thailand, we're talking about like magical practitioners or spiritual teachers. So yeah, I went to a few different ajans, but I went to this one ajan, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to learn from him?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to learn from him. Like, yeah, like just tell me when." And he's like, "Okay, I'll take you to him. You're gonna get like clop." That's what he said. He was like saying that I'm gonna get something called clop. And I was like, okay, like whatever. I didn't know what that was. And so yeah, I had to travel like an hour away super early to meet this guy who that was my uncle's friend from high school. And then he took me to the teacher that he had. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, you want to learn from me?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Okay, so this is how I'm gonna put the needle in your head." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I think you misunderstood. Like, I'm just here to like learn and talk with you." And he's like, "Yeah, you need to get this because I can't teach you unless you get like the initiation and the tattoo." And I was like, is it gonna hurt?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna hurt." And I was like, "Fuck!"
Yeah, the
Come on, you knew there wasn't going to
Yeah,
be any
yeah.
anesthetic.
At this point, it's like a 2 hour. It's been like 2.5 hour of like a travel like
So did you have to
time to
shave your
get there.
head because it's on your skull? Like,
No, so my uncle's friend has a daughter as well, so he's obviously like like you don't have to shave her head, right? Because he shaves the other guy's head. And he was saying, "No, I'll just do it around. I've done this before." And
Well,
yeah.
that's reassuring.
Yeah. So again, I had no idea what I'm walking into. I oh my god, I'm just taken to this room where there's a bunch of gods. I've like posted the picture a few times too. I probably should have sent it to you guys. And yeah, so I don't know what the hell's going on. They're just like, all right, start praying. I start praying. He gives me this coconut water mixed with whiskey and chili to drink
Interesting.
before the initiation. It's supposed to be something that he gives to all of his students before. There's like a bunch of reasons why too that he explained.
Uh-huh.
But um and then And then they gave me tattoo needles, and so I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" So they gave me the traditional Thai tattoo needles that are like probably like 2-ish feet long that you jab into people, and then they put it over a book. They had me hold it while he was holding it, and then initiated me, started the prayer work. After that was done, he was like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "No." And then he told me to put my hands in the prayer formation, put my head down, and I can't make a sound. So I've had a sakyant before, and I was never told to do that. But in this case, he's like, you have to be praying the entire time and like make yourself as pure as possible. Which, to be honest with you, was pretty fucking hard with a needle being jabbed in my head. So he said,
Wait, sorry. What's a sakyant?
a sakyant is um a yantra tattoo. Technically, that's like what it translates to, but it's a Thai magical tattoo.
Okay, okay, a Thai magical tattoo. Got it.
Yeah, and there's like a whole magical tradition and line of people that know the art of doing it and teach it.
That's a those are tattoos that Angelina Jolie have, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's probably necessary
these
context.
types of tattoos here.
Yeah.
Yes. So the monks have to do that, or not the monks, but the teachers that have been initiated have to do it. You can't technically you can't do it if you're not initiated. I really don't know the rules around that because here in the West, there's a few things that you can get away with if you're not initiated. To be honest, shouldn't be saying that on live, but
Why?
uh,
True.
it is true.
People get away with bullshit.
People might get pissed though, but you know, there's that. But yeah, technically those Thai tattoos, you have to like be connected with the line that the original monks that had made them were connected with.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I got a sakyant on the top of my head by the teacher,
It's
and
hardcore.
Yes, and so I'm basically his spiritual daughter. Um, and yeah, I mean, I also I don't know how much I can exactly say about all of that. Um,
Keep it vague.
yeah, but that is pretty much the gist of what happened. He did give me a Thai tattoo needle, like he gave me the Sakyant needle because the line that I did get initiated into is actually known for Sakyants, and specifically the ones that make people's skin sticky. So he's actually teaching me how to do the Sakyants and the yantras, which aren't actually in most books.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. And Pumpkin Spice is asking, so was it like on the crown chakra or near the crown chakra?
Yes, I will give you a hint. I tweeted about it and I said something about the top of the head in Thai tradition.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay. All right. So I have a question.
Someone asked, is this connected to Siam Maoshan?
Um,
Same school of thought, not the same
I
traditions.
don't
Yeah.
believe so either because that's Chinese, right?
Right. So they're
Okay.
both forms of esoteric Buddhist influenced magics, but they're very different beyond that. The use of tattoos in the passing of a lineage is pretty common in magical traditions across East Asia. It's part of why, like, obviously in Japan they go to the super extreme because it was very criminalized, but
Mhm.
part of it is that it's that indelible proof that you're part of this thing, right? It becomes a part of your body, and so taking that extreme step in initiation is very magically powerful. And the knowledge of what the symbol means, it's a common theme, but I don't think it's influenced by Tibetan practices. I don't think so. They're pretty different. If my understanding is correct, Tibetan magic is much more closer to Hindu magic than if we're talking about like the Confucian
So
Buddhist
the
mix
Tibetan
up
magic,
north.
the Tibetan magic uses like the Vedic or Hindu lunar calendar in order to determine when they do like certain rituals. Like in Tibetan Buddhism, certain rituals are performed according to what tithi it is, which is the Vedic word for lunar phase. So based on the different phases of the moon, they'll perform different rituals every month. And so, yeah, it's the Tibetan Buddhism and their ritual magic does take a lot from Hinduism and Vedic astrology and things like that.
Interesting.
But
So
it's
I have
also mixed with like the local folklore and culture of the
Probably
Tibetans.
I would say
Like,
centered on that.
yeah. And the
But
Buddhism, Hinduism thing is like a framework that's kind of imposed over the existing indigenous practices in that region.
So I have a question. Gabby has been, you've been sharing stories with us about these different like initiations that you've done into like the Golden Dawn Order and into this like Thai order. Um, I'm like curious to know like if there are distinctions between like different types of initiations because I myself, and I wonder if like other people that are listening or that are in the chat can like resonate with this, but I feel like I've had my own initiation, but it wasn't with like people or with like an order. I like so I was at like the rock bottom essentially, kind of. I wasn't really like rock bottom, but I was like spiritually rock bottom during like COVID around 2022. And I had quit my job and I was like, what's the purpose of my life? Like, how can I help people? And my friend recommended that I read this book, The Woman Who Run with the Wolves. And it's essentially like the equivalent of the collective Carl Jung's collective archetype of the collective unconscious. It's like the female equivalent of that for women. And as I was reading this book, I had this dream where I was like underneath this table and all these like really tall people like walked into the room one by one and they looked like humans, but something about them didn't feel human to me. They felt like otherworldly. but they look like humans. But then, and they were like all wearing these like robes. And I remember like in particular, there was this one man who was bald and he was in this like gray tunic and he clearly looked so annoyed to be there. He was like, what am I doing here? This is such a waste of my time. And like there I'm still like underneath this table and I'm just like waiting. I don't know. I was like, I felt like I felt like I had to hide. And these like people were like sitting around the table and they were talking. And I realized in the dream that they were talking about me. And then I guess they were done, and then I like crawled out of the table, and there was this woman standing there. She was the only person left. She had this like long orange, like curly hair, and this like white, like see-through robe tunic on, and she was like at least 2 heads taller than me. And I was like thinking in my head, like, this is not a human. She put her hands on my shoulders, and she said something to me. I don't remember what she said, but I remember it like whatever she was saying, it was meaningful. And then there was a gun in the corner of the room, and it shot, and the bullet went through my head, and I died. And then I woke up from my dream, and it was so vivid. I still remember this dream till this day, and my life like changed after that. I got myself a tarot card deck. I like rediscovered astrology. I started to have these like very like weird encounters with like witches and astrologers. And I felt like, oh, I feel like this is my purpose. I'm like, I love astrology. I'm kind of good at it. I feel like whenever I do these readings for people just on the street or like with my friends, I'm like making such an impact in their lives. And my life just changed. I'm a completely different
Yes.
person like right now than I was in 2022. And I feel like but it's not the same type of thing, but I
Yes.
feel like that was my own type of initiation.
No, it
Yes.
is.
Yes, for sure. I mean, that kind of illustrates perfectly our point about, initiation with a small I versus capital I initiation. And, the
Yeah.
stories that Dabby was sharing are more the second version, but, your dream, it also fits with the archetypes that we've been discussing, right? Because it's always some kind of symbolic death, right? Like the Golden Dawn, where they put a hood over your head and put the sword to your head. That's the threat of death. If we in any kind of initiation, there's this symbolic death and then rebirth. Even in things like fraternity initiations, right? There's this humiliation ritual, and your kind of old social standing is broken down and worn away and eroded and destroyed, and then you're reborn as a member of the group, right? And so, you dying in your dream and then waking up and feeling reborn, that totally tracks with the archetype of any kind of initiation. Someone's saying they cannot hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
I can
Yeah.
hear you. Yeah.
Anyone else can't hear me?
In the chat, maybe.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
respond.
Ascendant, can you hear him now?
Can everyone hear me?
Okay,
so
she's
they say they
okay.
can hear.
Yeah, Matto, say so you can hear. Okay.
Okay,
Head up.
cool. So yeah, that's it. It's important to remember that you can initiate yourself, right? And just because it's a small I initiation doesn't mean it's not going to lead to contact with spirits and stuff like this. You can kind of get in touch with your one method of tapping into a lineage rather than going with some kind of existing orders to, if you have any ancestors, you can tap into that always. There's lots of different types of initiations, right? And it's important to remember that it's not always, a bunch of people doing some ceremony.
Yeah. So like lowercase I initiation
Yeah.
versus like uppercase I initiation. Okay.
I also
Cool.
think there's something to this question of how far you need to go, right? So what happens
Yeah.
after an initiation? Because for the most part, the initiation is not that important. Obviously, I am very jaded when it comes to magic and stuff like that. So take that with a grain of salt. But what do you do afterward, right? So whether it's a lowercase I or an uppercase I, does your initiation lead to more initiations? Does it lead to something? Is this time for your capital G, capital W great work? Are you going to find yourself working under an authority that you maybe regret? And how do you handle that? I obviously have
Interesting.
some hot takes and thoughts on that with my leading questions, but I'll throw them out to the group before we kind of jump down that rabbit hole of part of the benefit to a capital I initiation over sort of that self-initiated or having some kind of intense spiritual experience that begins a new chapter in your life, that lowercase initiation. An uppercase initiation in a metaphysical sense is giving you another entity's authority, capital A authority, right? That is what you need for magic. That is, I would argue, probably more important than knowledge and will. Ask me another day, I'll have a different opinion. But that's today's opinion.
I was going to say it's like getting a direct phone line to those entities as well.
And it's also, they're vetted, right? So there's a lot of good reasons to go with that. There are also prices and consequences and limitations and things you cannot get out of. I have had a number of difficult conversations with people who were like, I grew up in this really intense mystical version of Christianity and you did all of these things and made all of these vows and I want out. I don't want this anymore. And I'm like, okay. What did you say was going to happen to you when you left? Well, I was going to be obliterated and rot in hell forever. What do you want me to do for you? That's what you promised. That's what you that's what you did. That's so to be, a capital I initiation is a big fucking deal. And there isn't, how can, the most I can offer you is another initiation, right? I could, and then those authorities can fight over you. That's about as good as you're going to get when we're talking about certain points of no return. I would say, from what Dabby was talking about with the Golden Dawn initiation, you hadn't gone to the point of no return, right? You were not a high-ranking magi.
No. No.
And sort of, Alex, we sort of talked a little bit about, whether or not I would ever consider myself initiated, because I've never been taught magic in that kind of context. I've never done that. But grew up Catholic, right? So absolutely was initiated into the Catholic Church, had the baptism, all that good stuff. Yeah. Did not go through to confirmation, which I would say is quite a nice, fun little thing, because I get access to all of the Christian magics, but I don't have to follow the rules. I didn't have to pledge myself. I didn't have to go all the way. So if you don't know, these are the big 7 for Catholics, right? You can only do 6 because you can't get married and take the holy orders. But you're born, you get baptized right away, right? Because we're all filthy, dirty whores, and if you die before that, you're going to be in purgatory forever, and that's expensive to get you out. So
wait, I have a question. So sorry, I'm confused. So are these 7 things supposed to be like the different steps before you become like initiated into like the Catholic Church?
No, this is how you go to heaven.
Yeah.
This is how you get to go to heaven. If you don't do these things, you can't go to heaven.
But only these on the top are required. These are optional, right? You don't have to do these, but you do have to do all of these to become a full member of the Catholic Church. So you need to have baptism, you need to have confession, right? So baptism, everyone knows what that is. So baptism, they dunk you in the water, right, and make you a member of the church, right? The submersion is symbolic of the being born and being reborn.
Most churches just pour a little water on them.
Yeah, most churches just pour a little water on you, right? The Catholic Church just sprinkles water on you. Then there's confession. We have to go and tell them all our secrets, tell them all the bad things we did. The Eucharist is where you consume the blood and body of Christ after it's been consecrated by a priest. and there's a whole lead up to that. And then confirmation is the big one. That's the one that seals the deal and makes you a full-fledged member of the Catholic Church. What you have to do for confirmation is basically you have to stand up in front of the whole church and recite a creed that says that you believe in Jesus, and you pick a patron saint and ally yourself to that. Many people, it's customary to actually change your middle name to the name of
Oh,
the
wow.
saint that you are
Oh, you
adopting as your
Whoa.
patron saint, right?
Yeah.
And so then this kind of locks you in, and then you are that's it. Then so
You're
and
locked in.
the thing is, Coop,
Mhm.
I was also raised Catholic, and like Cooper, I went through baptism, I went through confession, I went through the Eucharist, but I did not do confirmation. I was born into a Franciscan church, which accelerates the timeline for these sacraments, and I was going to do confirmation around age 14, and I didn't want to do it. I just felt intuitively that it was not a good thing to do, and that this was a mistake. And so I tried to convince my parents, and they weren't budging. They're like, "You have to do this," and I was like, "Well, I don't believe it, so I feel like it's disrespectful to go up there and say things to everyone that I don't really believe." And they couldn't really argue with that, and so I didn't end up taking it. And now that I'm a magician, I'm glad I did. So, Cooper, can you elaborate on like the benefits that this might have for people like us?
Right. So when we walk through the sacraments and in the church, the way the magic works, right? So baptism cleanses you of your original sin, and specifically within the Catholic Church, it is your introduction into the church. So there are adult baptisms. They're kind of like rare-ish, like they're scheduled, right? But whereas with like evangelical churches, usually baptism is your confirmation into the church, right? So you are usually there's a big build up to a baptism, and then you have your baptism. There's a lot of reasons why, particularly like Pentecostal churches do that. But for them, baptism and confirmation are kind of the same thing, and they often don't do confession or the Eucharist, or if they do, it's really rare. Like Lutherans, I think they do it like what? It's just for Easter? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so, right? So for Catholics, though, we take, well, you should go to confession often, at least weekly, so that you can receive the Eucharist weekly. So you cannot receive the Eucharist if you have not confessed recently. The idea being that you are impure. And in Catholicism, so transubstantiation is very important. And if you don't know what that means, it means Catholics believe that when they take that little cracker and that shitty wine, it is literally becoming human flesh and human blood from divine Christ. That is, so if you taint it, you fuck it up for everyone. So that's why in old school Catholicism, even the priest would put it on your tongue. I want to say that was before the reforms in the 60s.
Yes, that was before Vatican II.
Yeah. So that was because you, even after confession, were still impure enough that there was a risk of you fucking up the magic. So the magician did it for you to ensure that you would then be able to receive Christ's blessing and renewal. And so then confirmation is literally binding yourself to the church, which is Christ's bride on earth. It is his emissary. This is what we're supposed to do. And it's more of a magical political affiliation. And then at the end of your life, you should be anointed, so that you are finally cleansed of your sins and allowed to go to heaven. If you are not anointed and you die, you go to purgatory. And so eventually you probably will get to go to heaven, or your family can pay and you get to go to heaven.
I think they can do it posthumously, can't they?
They've loosened it a bit. I believe it's like within a little while, but yeah,
it used to be. But I remember when I was younger and a family member was dying, and there was a whole thing about trying to get the priest to the hospital to perform this rite before they died, and it was a whole big thing that had to happen. So yeah, I'm familiar with that. So, but basically,
obviously,
all right, go ahead.
Sorry. So the last two sacraments, right? You can do one or the other. Well, kind of. I mean, you can be a deacon, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
basically a noisy usher. And so you either get married, and obviously it's a heterosexual union, and so you have children, right? So you are furthering the church that way, literally by creating more people to continue God's will. Or you take on the holy order and you take the church as your bride and are then facilitating God's will and continuing it forward. So the idea is you start with your own purification, then you undergo Christ's rite of salvation, right, through the confession and Eucharist. Then you get to join the actual holy church that has the true teachings and is the apostolic succession, right? That's confirmation. And then you take on the role of propagating that church one way or the other. And then in the end, you are finally given the anointing of the sick so that you are able to transcend your sins. And when you go to heaven, you won't have to go through purgatory. You can go right through the gates. St. Peter will welcome you in. That is the whole point of the magical order we call the Catholic Church. That is, we are taught from a very, very young age the church exists so you can go to heaven. This is the only way to go to heaven, is through these 7 sacraments. It is explicitly a magical order. That's why the Protestants were like, no, we don't have to go through your magical order. Christ gave this to broad everyone. Strokes to humanity. Now, do I think they're right? You all know how I feel about Protestants, but I also don't love the Catholics. So that is the gist here. So when we talk about these initiations and magical orders being very common, they are, right? This is, it is a lifetime journey. So you do your initiation, right? But you're going to be initiated over and over and over again. In the book, I talk about you're going to go up, you're going to perform the ascent, but coming back down is actually the meaningful part of it, right? You go up and you touch the all and you come away with this fragment of perfection, but you go back to the reality of your momentary being of this little piece of shadow. And yet you have encountered this massive, glorious thing that has expanded and altered you. That over and over and over again is the initiatory cycle. And you can see it within the church, and certainly within occult orders, by and large, which were informed by the church, whether directly or indirectly, right? When we talk about the Eastern,
interesting
magical orders.
Interesting.
Sometimes
so then are you saying that like the Golden Dawn and like the OTO, etc., have been influenced by like the Catholic Church?
They're explicitly Christian magic systems. It gets a little, as we get further and further out, like to the modern, that you're going to get a little more complicated answers on that. But certainly when we're talking about those orders, yes, they are explicitly Christian. I mean, that is their point. Some of them are Protestant, though, particularly like the Freemasons they're weird. They're like both. I don't know. I believe the Scottish rites, right? There's a Protestant one. But I might have it backwards. I don't care that much about these orders, to be honest. But they are pretty heavily influenced. Modern practitioners sometimes will be very distant from that. But like Crowley, when we talk about like his early upbringing, he's the son of a minister. And even in his later days, he's not really arguing against Christian theology so much as like, no, that's not true. By the time we get to Thelema, he's kind of jumped shark. But early on, he's really trying to get God to punish him, right? So he's being as naughty and as evil as he can and breaking as many rules as he can in hopes of invoking God's punishment, because more real to Crowley than love and goodness is harsh, cruel punishment, because that's the kind of minister his father was, right? That very hell and brimstone is infinitely more important than the glory of heaven. And so he's looking for the glory of heaven in all of those awful things, which then leads to his experiences with the magical orders. And then he has his own sort of development of magic, which then gets more into a polytheistic-ish vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Borderline, yeah.
Yeah, and that goes back to the early Gnostic and Hermetic traditions, right? Which were themselves based on Greek mystery traditions, which
Right.
are themselves based on like Indo-European stuff that we kind of you can only vaguely reconstruct, which is based on like pre-Homo sapien rituals, where Neanderthals were building elaborate cave temples to initiate people into something. I mean, we don't know what, but we can see the spiral designs, and that same symbol shows up in modern initiation rituals. Kind of if you were ever going to make an argument about as I would, the universality of magic, the fact that all of these different initiations, whether or not they're directly related, there isn't really an initiatory tradition that doesn't touch on some of these shared symbols, right? The blinding of the initiate tends to be very important, an engagement with death, some kind of chthonic transformation, and then usually the taking of a new name or
rebirth.
The development of a mantra, right, where you might internalize that however you want. That I would argue is taking a name in maybe a more abstract way. That is quite essential. And so the Freemasons, that's what we're looking at here. This is kind of what is a more elaborate version of what Debbie was probably talking about with the hooding, the pointing of the swords. And so you can see how those rituals are distilled down. Broad strokes, we're talking about like magic has gotten smaller over the centuries, I would say, where we're cutting out a lot of pieces. And then postmodern magic, right, where we get to like chaos magic and stuff like that, is cutting everything out except the most basic part, which is your consciousness is both the greatest limitation on your potential and the fulcrum on which all your potential rests, right? So anything that you might be and could be requires your consciousness, and yet your consciousness is still the thing that's limiting you. And so how do you engage with that dynamic? How do you overcome that? Well, magic, right? You engage with other consciousnesses, you touch higher beings, you alter yourself in one way or another, and initiations are the start of that, but not usually the fallout. There is also a very practical side to initiations, right? I think, and this is, I think, maybe going to tee up some of our further conversation on the political side, like the secret keeping side, sort of Hope, where you were talking about like the movie occult version of this, right? The conspiracy theory version of the Freemasons, where they're running the world and they're in control of everything.
Eyes wide shut.
Eyes wide shut. Yes.
Alex and I watched Eyes Wide Shut on Halloween, and it's so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there
we fell asleep while we were watching it.
Yeah. We've got things like the Skull and Bones, right? These types of initiatory orders, like they're always kind of standing in the background of these news stories. And to bring that up, so I predicted back in July that there would be some publicity about the scandal with Trump and Epstein by tracking the transits on the composite chart. And I highlighted specifically November 10th to November 28th as a time that we would get more news about Trump and Epstein. And then, over the last few days, we've had the Epstein emails released and stuff like this. And here's one that's been pretty talked about online, where it's a email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark. And his brother Mark ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. And now Bubba, for those that don't know, Bill Clinton famously goes by the nickname of Bubba. And, now someone else, so there's another theory that this is actually Ghislaine Maxwell's horse is named Bubba. I don't know. If I'm going to bet, though, I feel like Trump is not into bestiality. He's more of an old school queen, right? Like, he's like old school mean gay. You know what I mean? Like,
mean gay, yes.
He called a reporter piggy. He's like quiet piggy, right? To a reporter today on Air Force One. So that's like I don't know. That's like kind of quintessential, kind of like old school gay, like
Yeah.
the
Well, he
birdhouse or
loves to
whatever.
call
Yeah.
he loves to talk about like women's weight, which like seems so old school, mean gay. On like he does that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm having a moment here where I recall a very, very gay me sitting with my friends in a movie theater, and I've realized that they're all talking about like the hot actresses in the movie, and I go, I bet she has a great pussy. And my friends all look at, we're like 12, 13-year-old boys here, right? Like I keep contact. They all look at me and like, that's the gayest thing anyone has ever said. And I'm like, so the fact that he, like his infamous line and the way he does talk about women does very much sound like how a misogynistic gay man thinks misogynistic straight men think about women. I would have fought this a lot harder than I'm about to. I think I might be agreeing with you all that maybe it really is. I want it to be the whores.
Well, yeah. Well,
I think it is.
But there's things about these kinds of orders with the politicians where it's like blackmail or humiliation is somehow a requirement to gain access. Like we had that story about David Cameron a few years ago where in order to get into this like, high socialite club, he basically a dead pig, he like basically fucked the mouth of some dead pig, right? That's the allegation that he did for this initiation ritual, David Cameron. So it's like, we see these kinds of, humiliating sexual things done as part of these initiation rituals. And if, I don't know, maybe if Donald Trump wanted access to the Lolita Express and the, the festivities there on the island, he had to pay the cost of sucking off Bill Clinton on camera in order to gain access to that. I don't know. It could be something like that. Maybe Trump's not gay and he just is a pedo, and in order to, get access to the, pedo party scene, he's got to, humiliate himself in some way. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's always a very grim conversation to be had around, some of the larger figures that are very well known to traffic one way or another. So what is the point of these kinds of secret keeping organizations, right? Like, so how do they work? So if we go back to Skull and Bones, this is a Yale fraternal order, right? Alex Jones very famously tried to like, I'm gonna go out to their California compound and I'm gonna show you the real truth.
That's a pretty good Alex Jones impersonation.
Thank you. I shouldn't be proud of that, but thank you. I like to think I do unhinged white men very well, for no reason. Definitely not anything to be concerned about. The gist of it being like, yeah, they do go and do these goofy occult rituals. It is at some level, these organizations are fun, right? Why are people part of these? There's a big contingent of any cult, of any high demand group, whatever it is, who are there because they're bored, because it's fun, because it's something to do, and you get drawn into a whole bunch of other stuff. So the big Skull and Bones initiation that they talk about is you're buried alive, right? So we're talking about, again, the simulation of death, of darkness. And in that moment, you are forced to confess every embarrassing thing you've ever done while all of the other members of the order are there taking notes. So they have their big black book of all the bad things you've ever done. So politicians of both political parties who have run this country and run this country now are members of Skull and Bones. Obama, I forget a lot of the Republicans who were in there.
George Bush.
Clinton, Bush was in there.
Clintons and Bushes.
So when we talk about like the architects of the modern American presidency, which if you're not familiar, yada, 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 the American presidency used to be very weak. It was because of Skull and Bones' success that it became what it is now. So post World War II, the American presidency rapidly expanded and now is arguably the most powerful part of the government. It used to be by and like a kind of mid-tier, right? It continued to expand and they purposefully did that. That was a big part of that project. So yeah, there are these organizations. Yeah, they do keep each other in line. There is a reason that they vote lockstep. Is it because of those secrets they told as teenagers? Maybe. Is it because that experience binds them and unites them and makes an insular group that is both very literally and spiritually and psychologically linked together? Absolutely. These organizations are useful. And so for me, one of the things that I like to use is kind of a litmus test of like, is this allegation of a secret occult organization, like, does it make sense or is it probably bullshit? Is how useful is it to the people at the top of that organization? What does it let them do? Well, what did Skull and Bones do? It created the modern presidency and put every single one of them in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very successful.
We
You guys
should start
fucking
one
did it.
so that we can all, you know, pass off the presidency baton to each other.
That would be amazing.
4 of us.
Yeah.
We all know that I think I should be. Well, I'm starting to like kind of realize that somebody used, like, there were back in the day, people were like, "Oh, you're the Antichrist," and I was like, "That's, how could you ever say that?" And now I'm like, I do have really pretty blue eyes, and I think I would make a great ruler of the world. So you know, I'm open to it. You guys can help out with it.
Antichrist superstar.
Antichrist superstar. That
Yes,
is
let's hold.
Stop talking
Yeah.
right now, because that we are writing that. We are writing Antichrist Superstar. We're gonna go ahead and get whoever did Good
Auditions.
Omens to produce it, and we're about to go ahead and make a TV show. So no, we're talking about that. That is
You're right,
copyrighted. That is documented. You saw the live stream. That is our idea. Antichrist Superstar. Thank you, Cooper Hakel, Occult Hours collab project. You guys can get co-producer credits if you actually
TM.
write. Yeah, it's ours. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, but it's just going to be the movie Superstar, but Mary Catherine Gallagher is the Antichrist. So excited. I like how I told you to not ruin the plot, and then I just gave it away.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
you're gonna have to compete with Peter Thiel for the Antichrist spot right now, or Antichrist spot right now, because
Yo. Ooh.
yeah, that has been super interesting. I don't want to get completely off tangent here, but we're gonna have to do an episode on the Antichrist. I'm just gonna make a note of that right now.
Yeah, we should.
Elon
we
Musk
should
is
do.
really, he's doing well.
Yeah. Episode idea. Writing it down right now.
So, well, where should we go from here? I mean, we could continue with this. We've got, I mean, well, there
Can I
was
make
this
one
image.
note?
Oh yeah, Dabby, what do you have to say?
Yes, please,
So,
Dabby.
I realize that most religions in general are, I mean, originally they started as a way to secure their tribe's afterlife, if that makes any sense. So, like, secure your spot
Right.
in heaven, or in the field of reeds, or in nirvana, or whatever. Like, yeah,
Different types of heaven.
Yeah, the initiations and the whole religion we're just supposed to help people reach heaven, essentially, and secure their spot there. But you know, people start twisting things for benefit and greed and power and all that stuff. So I guess the original intentions have been like diluted a little bit.
This
and
is
like
a argument I have a lot about. You know, like I love theology and I hate religions is kind of how I would say it. Where, you know, I like to, if I'm being dramatically occulty, I would talk about religions are the bones of the bodies of mystics, right? So as magicians, we do our thing, and if you do your thing big enough, somebody's gonna pick your shit up and they'll try and continue it onward. And most religions are exactly that, right? They're the bones, they're the rotten leftovers after the true spirit and blood of the magic is gone. And secret orders tend to be trying to preserve those organs, right? That's maybe where if I'm going to extend my body metaphor here. But it is in the initiation and in the actual living practice of it that the body is renewed, right? So that dying and being reborn is also the death of the tradition and the rebirth of the tradition, where you're talking about the securing of the community. If we go back to that basic psychosocial metaphor that underscores the magic, that is what you're doing, right? You are preserving your community, you're continuing it by ensuring people are in it, and they have specific rules and requirements, right? You talk about rites of passage. they're all very interesting and very important. In the modern age, I think we have a problem in that we're often seeking out initiations, in large part because our religious institutions have proven themselves to be largely worthless, and our governments have, if not completely, largely fallen away from any sort of service of the public good. Like, we're in a rough era for the collective conscious. It's not first time it's happened, it won't be the last time, but it is a rough time. And in that, you've got people seeking, right? So you've got right now we're seeing a lot of cults rising up, particularly internet cults are very interesting. You've got a satanic panic is brewing. Won't that be fun? You've got evangelical orders who are literally attempting to bring about the second coming of Christ through the destruction of Israel and the fulfillment of Armageddon, right? That is their explicit goal. Being really culty here, you can go read the general's papers from when they started this. That is the plan. That's what we're doing.
Trying to make the Messiah come. Trying
Yes,
to, like,
60% of
force
military
run
leadership
the
are.
prophecy.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Are you guys talking about Israel?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how they're trying to make the whole world, like, turn the whole world against them
Mm-hmm.
in order to kind of, like, so that the Messiah has to come?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds
I've
like a
heard-
joke, but it's not.
It's not funny at all.
Like, shit.
No,
Yeah, because isn't there like a
and like red heifers and inspecting
Yes,
them because
yes.
they have to find the heifers with like
Mm-hmm.
no all the
All
hairs
right.
have to be intact. There's all these
They
requirements.
heifer's
Yeah.
a cow, right?
Yeah, it's like
Okay, so a red heifer is a red cow.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a female cow that's not yet been bred.
Okay. Oh, that's very specific. Okay. And when you say it hasn't been bred, you mean hasn't fucked
Can't be
yet?
milked. So the reason a heifer is distinct from another cow is because you can't milk it. Yeah, you can only milk a cow that's had a baby. So you have to keep cows constantly pregnant. And a heifer hasn't had a baby yet.
Okay.
Yet, so you can't milk it.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a worthless cow is the point.
Okay.
And it has to be red as well.
It's a virgin cow.
A virgin red female cow is a red
Yeah.
heifer.
Right.
And you're looking for the perfect red heifer. Okay.
Yes.
Crazy.
There's like other random requirements or something.
Yeah, like the hairs have to be like they can't have. I don't know all the requirements, but there's
It gets
something with
intense,
the
and it's
hair.
different for different stacks of it. But
Okay.
there are very real occult orders, very openly, actively doing what they're doing.
I mean, there's a group of rabbis in the Knesset that have basically publicly stated this is their goal.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
What's
it's not a secret.
What's a Knesset? Is that like
That's like the Israeli parliament or governing body, basically.
Okay. Yeah, Professor Zhang. What? I love the comment section. Keep looking at it.
Yeah.
By the way, I have my
Professor
suspicion.
Jang guy.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with him. I've been watching all of his videos, although I am very suspicious of him because he's teaching in Canada only to Chinese students, and he's trying to like de-brainwash only Chinese kids, which is weird to me. And he never talks about China. So I have my suspicions with him. So sorry. Please continue. This is really interesting. I
don't know who this
not
is.
as well versed in all this as you guys are.
So if you did,
they want to build the third temple of David. Is that what you're saying, Tasha?
That's the gist, right? So
okay, that's the gist. Yeah. Okay.
Because you have to destroy it and then rebuild it so that you can bring in the millennium, which is
interesting. Okay.
So that's what their goal is. But so as a Catholic, I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid because that's not how the world ends. So okay, but they're crazy, and you know how I feel about Protestants. So, God, they drive me fucking nuts. And the rapture bullshit. That's
well, even like Peter Thiel keeps talking about it. You know, he had like a 7-part lecture series, and you had to sign up for it, and it was in person in San Francisco.
Yeah,
it was They didn't even record it, by the way. So Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal, the guy who's in all the Epstein files, he's like a major investor of Palantir, which is this tech
Yeah.
company that like Trump has hired to like
Yeah.
get every citizen's data for whatever reason, right? This guy literally did a 7-part lecture series close to the public, no recording, about the Antichrist. That's a lot of talking about the Antichrist. And so the nonprofit that like organized this talk, they're like this they're not really, they're kind of like this Christian tech group. And the whole idea is that they want to bring in software engineers or anyone who's in tech who's going through an existential crisis because we live in a materialist society where God and spirit has been sucked out of the world. And so there's obviously, like, I went through my own existential crisis. I'm a software engineer. I'm in tech, and I literally went through it myself. And I see a lot of people going through it in my own sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so this nonprofit organization essentially like is a call out to these software engineers or just people in tech in general that are like going through this existential crisis. And they have these talks where they talk about how you can use your talents and you can like build tech for Jesus. And it's weird. And they're
Tech for
only
Jesus.
yes, and their only branches are in San Francisco and Dubai. Or United, it's like
Whoa.
somewhere in the,
Jesus
yes.
Christ. That's like that's
Nice.
that's
Shoot, I'm about to convert.
They're unfortunately very common. These kinds of it comes out of the self-help gurus in the like 80s and 90s, like peak American capitalism. So what they took is they took occult teachings and then spun it for businessmen, right? So they would go through these insane occult rituals. There's a lot of court cases about like these horrific abuses. Like you would go and get tortured for a week and a half. You would be humiliated, and it was super brutal. And they were self-improvement courses. So those are then the people who informed the Peter Thiels and all of that growing up. And someone brought up pumpkin spice. It is important to note that when we're talking about Israel and the Jews don't think Jesus is the Messiah for the most part, right? There are Messianic Jews. They're a very small group. It's really good to remember that 60% of the population of Israel has an American passport. They are first and foremost participants of the American genocidal project, which is many, many, many things, but it is first and foremost an act of white supremacy. And it is the goal of what I would call like the dead Saturn Jesus. That is their goal, to take that whitewashed, horrible, disgusting egregore version of the Phoenix and impose it on the world. And this is how they are doing that. So I want to make very clear that it is not a Jewish bit at all. It's specifically about the people who were put in power by the American military.
Yeah.
And those people were evangelical Christians who very specifically said, we are going to use these Jews who are fans of white nationalism to commit a genocide that we know will piss the rest of the world off, specifically all of their neighbors. And they're going to ignite this war, which will then lead to, the second Judea, right? Like, yay, hooray, Christ's kingdom is back. That is their goal because they believe all of that stuff. Again, I don't think they will succeed, but they probably will fulfill the great work.
They're pretty close, at least.
But I mean, the thing is that you've got these evangelicals on one hand, but they're working hand in hand with these people like Peter Thiel, who's connected with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, Thiel is as connected to Epstein as you can get. There's the infamous thing where Thiel sued Gawker and funded Hogan to sue Gawker into oblivion and bankrupt them. And
sorry, what's Gawker and what's Hogan?
Gawker was this gossip magazine, right? And they published a sex tape of Hulk Hogan, right? And then Peter Thiel funded Hogan to sue them, and it ended up bankrupting the organization. Now, it's commonly claimed that Thiel had a grudge against Gawker because as a gossip magazine, they previously outed him as gay, right? But the thing is that they outed him as gay years in the past, and Hogan didn't sue Gawker until 2016. Now, in 2015, Gawker was the first publication to release Epstein's Black Book that had all of his contacts for all of the people
Oh,
in his organization. And so
nice.
the real reason Gawker was taken down and was hit with the hammer was because they went too close to the Epstein files, right?
Correct.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
says R.I.P. Gawker. Yeah, I'm still sad about Gawker. I still miss Gawker. Gawker was awesome. But yeah, that's why they got taken down, is they flew too close to the Epstein story, which Thiel is super wrapped up in. And so it's like these Christians are really in bed with some of the, the worst people that exist, like these people that are engaged in all this sex trafficking stuff. And so it's
By
like,
the way, Tasha is asking a question: is their goal to cause chaos? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
No, they want to bring about the millennium.
Yeah.
They want to bring
So-
Jesus's perfect rule of the world for 1,000 years before we all go to heaven. Well, most of us go to hell, but a couple
Yeah.
100,000 go to heaven.
Yeah, Daddy, what about you? What do you think?
100%. I think the same thing. They've been trying to
it's
bring about this
explicitly their goal.
Messiah in so many different religions too, honestly. Like they talk about this Messiah and all of that. But a certain group is a little faster.
Mm,
I believe
mhm.
yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna say the Freemasons, I believe, are part of that, right? Trying to
Probably.
bring that about faster.
Something like that. I think. I mean, if we're going to get real speculative, I would say they probably, their purpose was a little different. I think they wanted to control the second coming. I think the evangelicals just want it to happen. They just are desperate to have God be real because they're spiritually dead and they worship Saturn, calling it Christ. But that's me.
Interesting. Saturn, like the
No, I
planet,
agree, actually.
like the deity of the planet,
Like void, the anti-light.
Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this you wanted me to include this meme, Cooper, I think.
Oh yeah, so this is just like it always drives me nuts because I do indeed consider myself an apostate. I'm a big old polytheist, but I do spend a lot of time defending Christ from Christians, and I love when people ask like, well, why did you leave the church? Like you were so intense and so devout. This would be why. I was like, hey,
it's a great meme.
You're hurting him. This is bad. Oh, this is awful. You are the bad guys. He's crying every Sunday. Are you not listening? Why are we worshiping him in tortured, horrible form and not resurrected divine glory? But so that was the hee hee ha ha here. And also a lot of occult organizations, right? This is it's particularly within the Christian sphere, this is what they are, right? So it's the idea that the institutions have diluted or removed or otherwise hidden the true teachings, and they're revealing them to you.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's interesting. It kind of makes me think about so today both of my nieces, they're like in elementary school and they go to this like Christian private school. And I think it's an Anti-Baptist. I might be saying this wrong. Anabaptist, thank you. So they go to like an Anabaptist, something like that, Christian private school, and every morning they have chapel. And so, by the way, these are like pre-kindergarteners, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, right? They're like ages 4 to like 9, right? There is at the center, at the front of chapel, there's this big cross of Christ. He's completely like emaciated. You can see all of his ribs. He is hung on the cross, and his head is hanging. There's tears falling down, and there's like fake blood. And these are what the kids look at every morning, and that just reminds me of your meme, like how it's like there seems to be this like really like large emphasis on like, look, Christ killed himself for you. Be grateful, rather than like focusing on like, okay, well, Christ was trying like it seems like what Christ was trying to do was like show us that we ourselves have a divine spark within us because we are the children, right, of like God or whatever. And rather than like focusing on like what the message was, it seems to be like, all right, feel bad. And remember the sacrifice that was made for you, rather than like focusing on like
it's like kind of fetishizing Christ's sacrifice for all of us and getting hung up on that and being willing to just take from that rather than embodying Christ and going forth in his example, right? Which is
yes.
what Christ asked to do, which is one of the most ironic things in the Bible is when we get the Our Father, right? It basically in the preceding verse right before that prayer says, do not pray as the heathens do, blindly reciting a prayer. Instead, pray like this. Now, the thing is, he was actually modeling like how we should try and talk to God and how we should pray and construct our own prayer. At least that's how I read it, right? But instead, we just decided, all right, we'll just copy these words exactly and repeat them for centuries, right? Instead of, I don't know. I mean, I had that thought even when I was reading the Bible as a kid, where I was like, well, it seems like he's saying that we should use this as a model for how to pray rather than just copy exactly what he said, and that we should try and live like Jesus and do the things that Jesus would do instead of just blindly venerating him,
Yeah.
all of this kind of stuff.
Which is explicitly what he says.
Yeah, I
I
was
am
gonna
the
say
way.
that too.
He negates all of the holiness codes and says the only way is through me. What are the exact quotes?
Yes,
You're
to that
so
comment,
horny.
I was looking at that.
It's
You're
I
so
am
horny for
I
his
am
suffering.
love is no, because love is the law is Crowley.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm
The
the way, the
suffering
light.
concept is so Saturnian too, just to talk about how they've twisted it into a Saturnian theme.
That's what Paul is a bastard. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. His apostles fucking sucked. Jesus fucked up. Let's just put it out there. As far as master magicians go,
Bring him out here right now. Call on Jesus. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Let's
I
shoot
know,
ya, my little friend from
'cause
Nazareth.
He will.
Let's kiki. I know. We'll kiki, girl. Sit down. Jesus was gay. We all know that. And so,
What?
of course he was. We can't do this. I did a whole stand-up set because I think it's ridiculous when His Holiness, the prior one, was
Episode idea: Jesus is gay.
oh, I'm so sorry. You mean the guy who's like, yeah, I hang out with 12 dudes. All I do is wash their feet and tell them to come onto me so that they can go to heaven?
Also, he
Very.
does tell his disciples, "Hey, leave your wives and children and come with me."
No girls
That's
except for
interesting.
the one
Shit.
hooker, because every group of gay guys needs a slutty woman.
This is my favorite rendition of Jesus.
And yes, so the point I wanted to make was that it's
Oh,
also
I
good to
see.
remember the Gospels are as close as we get to anything from the Messiah himself, if that is even what you want to call him. And the Gospels are written, best case scenario, like, some of the early, yeah. By the time we get to, like, I think Luke, right?
I think it's like 87 AD or something like that. I don't
Right
know,
about
50 years after these events.
So it's important to remember that, like, one, these are people. So early Christianity is very strange and it's very interesting. It's also, I would make the hot take position that to understand Christianity, you have to understand Roman and Greek mystery religions. Judaism is worthless. It is, in terms of understanding Christianity. It has basically nothing to do with it, except for the fact that he was a Jewish person, right? So he is interpreting the Greek mysteries through that and has a very interesting capital A claim of authority over Jewish magic because of his descending from David through his mother, right? So as a magician, I would look at that and go, okay, well, Greek magics, which are everything you do magically. And if you're really going through with this, when I talk about so if you read my tweets or whatever, when I talk about the Phoenix, I'm talking about this magician, this entity that we would call Christ or Jesus within Christianity now. But I would be distinct about it because I think, right, so Mithras, if we want to talk about that, certainly older, more ancient fire religions that we don't know about, right? They're very much pulling the same stuff, and he is pulling from this with the one caveat and the key caveat of opening the door to everyone, right? It is
Right.
you don't have to be of the blood of kings to be kingly anymore. That is the big magical act. It is the destruction of his own authority as a perfect divine being to allow everyone else a chance at divinity. That I would talk about is the magic of it. And that's very interesting. Where I would talk about him failing is there's no actual fucking consequences. You can't just be like, oh, I'll forgive you for everything. You can fuck up forever. And then you get strapped up like a little vampire and you've got these pieces of shit coming to you every week, drinking your blood, sucking you dry, and doing horrible, evil things in your name.
No,
so
that's
is why I'm a little bit stricter about who I would share authority with. But he's very nice and foolish as a result.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I wanted to think we should mention the topic of authority, right? Because we've kind of brushed around it a few times in this conversation, but we haven't kind of gone explicitly into what it is, right? And that, but basically, that's one of the points of initiation is that it grants you this authority, right? Because then once you've been initiated into a certain, like the example
You're in
that
the gang.
Dabby shared at the beginning with the Golden Dawn, right? After she went through that initiation, then she had authority to invoke and do certain types of magic that
Not only, yeah,
she wouldn't have had access to if she hadn't gone through it. And so
yeah.
that's really like, why would you go through this horrible thing? Because we've made it sound like it's like really bad, right? Like you have to simulate dying, you have to be humiliated. People are doing all of this bad shit to you. It's like, why would anyone do this? Like, well, it gives you authority, right? So I don't know, Cooper, I know you got something to say about authority.
Wait,
I
can
do,
I
but
make
I'm chuckling at the description of Christ as a people pleaser in the chat. That's 10
that's
out of
what I was
10.
laughing at too. Christ as a people
balls?
pleaser?
Ugh.
But I'm curious,
Same.
actually, Dabby, what do you have think about authority and how it functions in magic, and like, do you need to be initiated in order to have authority? Right? I have.
Yeah.
What's your thought on this topic?
Okay, so like right off the bat, I do not think you need to be initiated to have authority. Although I will say, like, I guess depending on the person as well. Um, building certain relationships might be harder. Like for me, I did not think that building a relationship with the angels, the archangels, would be that hard. But I feel like it was
It's
actually
hard.
very difficult. Yeah, I
They
had a
will just
hard time.
bounce immediately if you
Yes,
do
they
something
won't
they
even
do not
come
like at
through,
all. Like they'll just be like, "All right, we're
bro.
out. You deal with
Bro,
it on your own."
dude, I had a spirit attachment actually when I was getting initiated. I was with my group, my order, and we were very close, like very, very close. And I had like drawn the Archangel Michael sigil on the back of my neck and the back of my lower back in gold. And at that time, again, was like I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was like desperate, right?
I love
Because like
it.
my people were like,
Stress
we
me
can't
out.
help you as fast as you want it to happen. And I'm like, well, fuck. Um, so yeah, I wrote his sigil. I think
You're
it's
so
from the
hardcore. I just
Armadale.
have to
Or
say
no, it was
that.
from
You're
the
so
Armadale.
hardcore.
It was from the Armadale because everybody works with the Armadale, but I actually really like the Armadale. And so I like wrote the sigil on the back of my neck and my lower back, and it was on fire. So when I went to the initiation, I was like, "You guys feel my back and my neck where the sigil is written," and it was on fire. And I was like, "Dude, at this point, just remove the spirit. Like, why don't you just remove the spirit?" But it's because I didn't have that connection. Boom, get the initiation, and then didn't have an issue. I think that store also held a few Sabbath rituals, and I forgot which one. I think it was Samhain. But uh basically I was supposed to call in Raphael into one of the corners into the east. And I had missed the rehearsal, so when I went in the day of, I had just rehearsed with my friend, so I was calling in Raphael. I forgot who she was calling in. I think it was like Michael. And we were just practicing. I had just said the lines on the paper. I memorized them. I wasn't even trying to be that serious. And then a medium came in that room and she was like, "Oh, Raphael and Michael are already in here." And we're like, "What the fuck? We were just saying that. Like, we were just practicing. We didn't even mean to call them." So now they're answering the call immediately, and then had someone else to like validate it. But yeah,
Nice.
so like the initiation, I feel like gave that connection and that relationship in a
Mm.
way versus like before where I didn't really have that. And same with the Egyptian gods.
And so to add on to that, I think the important part is it's also that authority doesn't necessarily extend beyond the structure, right? So because you're using the Christian archetypes for the angels, right?
Yeah.
You're then able to command. So those magical orders claim apostolic succession, right? So they claim to be Christ's direct apostles, right? So they have his authority over spirits. So that's why initiates of the order are then able to command angels, because they have the same authority over them as Christ does, right? And I'll give it to him. But
Yeah,
I
I mean, we're
wouldn't take that and then try and conjure Hathor, right? Like,
no.
bad
Oh, no,
idea.
no.
Which I know
So
is not
yeah,
what
I
you're
didn't
saying,
explain.
but to be clear to the
Yeah.
audience.
Whoa, thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Yes, they let
Very
me
different
make it
authorities.
clear. Yeah, when I say Egyptian gods, I mean like there was like a few, like two that we were given, Nephthys and Anubis to start off with. Period. Like we're not supposed to go any further than that. And they also tell us, I mean, that's actually when we learned how to invoke the god forms like into our bodies. So, they didn't want us to go any further than that. And also, they were talking about how these are really good intro Egyptian gods versus later on, where I know you're saying, I
This is
know
the
you look.
intro god.
I mean,
What?
like for us, yes. They were saying they're like good Egyptian intro, like they're friendly. They were saying that well, my
Anubis?
teacher said
Yeah,
Anubis was friendly.
that's
He
why
was
I'm
friendly with
with
us.
you.
I didn't say he's mean. I'm
I
just
mean, he's not. I
He
mean,
doesn't
okay,
have the
okay, okay.
most warm and cuddly
yeah.
reputation.
No,
He
no,
just
I will.
threw you straight to the underworld,
No, but
which
that was fine. I mean, for us, okay.
it
I
worked out.
saw, yes, I saw. I mean, I've worked with Anubis enough now to see and recognize, like, sometimes he just doesn't want to say anything. And it's like also like part of his attitude where it's like, he's like, you ask, like, "Hey, Anubis, like, can I get into the field of reeds today?" And he's just like quiet.
Grumpy puppies.
Yeah, like that. Or it's like, I'm annoyed
Grumpy
that she's
puppy.
asking this question. Yeah. But with the initiation, it's almost like, I mean, this is gonna sound really bad, but it's almost like he can't be like, no, we're initiates that are trying to practice that invoking the god forms. There was literally like 12 of us in the room, and he's like, okay, you guys invoke whichever ones you want now that I've taught you how to do it. So either Nephthys again or Anubis.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think when we talk about, I don't know, I maybe unintentionally did an initiation with people last year, not for myself, but for them, because I was bored and I thought it would be a fun game.
Oh,
And it was.
spirit thing.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah,
Well,
this is crazy.
Wait, with the
One
Witch
reason we
King?
have
Did you
like
initiate them into the Witch King?
just let's call it broad strokes and
Uh,
initiation. Not me,
So-
Christ. I'm so sorry. To come to even me for like a true my sort of thing, you would already need to be a magician for me to even entertain you. These were practitioners who wanted to see if they could really engage with a spirit. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be
oh my gosh.
funny if I sent one to haunt you for a week and you guys have to figure out how to find its name and bind it before the end of the week? And if you do, I will give you special privileges to command the spirit. And if you fail, I will take all of those privileges for myself. They succeeded. But they did get haunted by a spirit of smoke for a week, and it fucked a couple of them up. But most of them are really into it.
I mean, Yeah,
I'm so
I
sorry.
remember
You've
you
gone to like
asked
how
me.
many magic teachers, and then you're gonna come to me and be like, "Oh, I'm big shit. I got all these protections." Okay, I'm gonna send one itty bitty fucking little elemental spirit of smoke that I found hanging out outside
What a
with a little
cutie.
campfire. And he's such a good boy. He is a good boy.
Aw.
But he did freak some people out who are like, I've gone to all these sites and I paid all this money and I've done all this shit, and now there's spirits here and I can't
Yeah,
deal with them and I don't know how
Well,
to command it.
it's funny because Hope, when she was at my house, she got like freaked out by some of the household spirits that I have that I've like fed, and she says they look like shadow bunnies, right?
That tracks.
Yeah, so whenever I go over to Alex's place, I always see like these little shadows just kind of dashing around, and it always freaks me out. They,
Yes.
and they have this like little like like sound and energy to it. They sound like schizo bunnies, and it's all and
Well,
so every and Alex loves them, by the way.
yeah, they're my little buddies. They're cool. You know, they help me out.
Yeah, so Alex has a few of them, and they're friendly. They're very friendly, and we know when we do like rituals and whatnot, they definitely show up.
Yeah.
But they freak me out. You know, they
Yeah,
have this weird
they
like
love
schizoid energy.
they love apples and onions and synthetic substances,
Oh.
drugs. They go crazy for all of that stuff. They love
They do.
Fuck.
it.
Elementals responding to you take
Oh my
that shape,
god.
Alex? Unimaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next,
True.
we're gonna be shocked
They
that
would
all surrounding me is
never
no.
drugs. Like that.
You
What
know,
does the smoke monster
When
nothing
do you
haunt
too
get those
hard, like
anyways?
tobacco or some just a little treat. Just a little treat.
They'll
Like
make it
candy,
worse
like
here.
gas station candy. They love like gas station candy with like
Yeah.
synthetic
God.
shit in it. That's like their favorite.
I love when
Yeah.
people are like,
Oh, red dye
the
40.
spirits need pure water and like everything holy, and I'm like, girl, they
Tap
love
water.
strawberry Fanta.
So
You're
someone
crazy.
Yes, they
someone's
do
asking a
love
good
strawberry
question.
Fanta. How do
It's
you?
so good though.
No, in Thailand, that's all we give them.
I know.
No, I
Oh,
swear to God,
really?
Girl,
I
I
can't
lived
find
in
that shit out
Japan for
here.
years.
Fanta.
Bro, I'm so pissed. Where are you
They're for
finding the
real.
red Fanta? No, for real.
Oh,
for real.
where? My randomly they have it up here. But I live in a creepy
Okay.
little my hometown is like on a confluence of two rivers in cardinal directions, surrounded by massive
Beautiful.
amounts of water and forest. It's a
Oh,
creepy
that's
little occult
plenty,
town.
though.
We have at least 8 occult shops, and there's only about 7,000 people in town.
That's actually a lot. More than
Yeah,
I feel like we have in LA, even though we have a lot of people.
it's nuts.
I mean,
So
we have a lot, but
Sari Berry asks, how do you sense and see them? The way that I can sense and see them, and I think we probably can do it. It's like similar experiences, but like I feel like mine could be different. For me, I can literally see them. Like I can literally see like dark shadows. It's kind of like it's kind of like seeing poltergeist. If you've ever been in like a haunted house or a haunted building and you see these little shadows, that's what Alex's shadow bunnies look like to me. I don't know what the smoke spirit looks like though. So Cooper, you take it away.
Yeah, everyone sees spirits differently,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like you basically have to go through. So, I mean, there's a few different ways. Some people are just born with the spiritual sight, right? Cooper is just born with it, right? Other people have to develop it doing some kind of, systematized technique. Yet the way I developed it was going through Rudolf Steiner, and he has a book called How to Know Higher Worlds. And in that book, there's a bunch of practical meditation exercises that he sets out that if you practice them consistently, that you will develop spiritual sight and be able to see spirits. And I did that for several years, and then eventually I was able to see the spirits first in my kind of mind's eye, right? But as I progressed more and more, it's more like they look like the hallucinations that you get when you're on acid, where it's like this interface that like lays over actual reality, and so you see it like superimposed, like a see-through,
Like augmented reality.
Yeah, like a AR type of thing. And that when I
Mhm.
really get into the ecstatic states when I'm doing rituals, then the spirits appear to me and they look like honestly they look a lot like acid things. And like when the deities and the daemons will appear, they'll have like the geometric patterns surrounding them and stuff. And so to me, like the acid kind of, if you've ever taken LSD, just imagine that instead of just the geometric, the divine geometry, that there's also then like an appearance of like a spirit or a deity in the middle of that, right? And that's kind of, but I'm not. It's not always like that. That's when I've like worked myself up and I'm in like kind of shaman mode and I'm in the middle of a ritual. Then
Yeah.
the spirits appear that vividly. Otherwise, it's more of like a kind of mind's eye type of thing. I don't know. Like Cooper, how do you see them?
Yeah, so within my family, there's kind of two versions, I guess. So it typically runs that the men, I would follow this as well. I don't literally see in terms of like a hallucinatory thing. It's much
Mm.
more like the world, like when I saw The Matrix for the first time as a little kid, I was like, oh, that's what I'm looking at. And so in that sort of source code of reality, I'm aware of what different spirits look like. And like, so I'm usually not looking at what you guys are talking about. I'm looking maybe behind that. But my sisters, for example, see spirits very literally. My niece sees spirits very literally in terms of their presence. And so it's always been really frustrating to me to have the sight but not see. It's so irritating. But see is the verb that I would use to best describe it, because it is like seeing, but I don't hallucinate. Where I do know people who do, though.
I wanted to actually like get into that too, because I mean, I have
Yeah.
a mix of a little bit of everything. I usually see things in my mind's eye. Just to explain it real quick, like if someone says Valentine's Day, I'm seeing balloons in my head and
Right.
chocolate, and I'm even getting
Hmm.
sensations and smells. But it took me a long time to figure out that that was actually tapping into stuff, because there's a lot of times things would come into my quote unquote imagination, and I did not know that was a spirit until I took certain classes with certain people.
Hmm.
And like they have called down someone who has passed, and I called down someone who's passed silently, and we do not know each other. And then I realized that, like, I'm explaining what I'm seeing, and then the woman is like, "Oh my God, that's my dad." And then I'm like, "Oh shit, that's not my imagination. This whole time, this was not my imagination." I'm gonna shit my pants right now. But anyways, no, my shaman teacher, the one that I also TA for, he actually does not see in the traditional sense as well. And he talks about how, when we do shamanic journeys, like people think like, why don't I see something or this or that? But he teaches you that we all have different ways of quote
Hmm.
unquote seeing, and how he sees is he feels. So like he
Hmm.
can kind of feel what's
Oh,
going on. He can feel the direction. If it's on the left side, he knows it's a female spirit. If it's on the right side, then he knows it's a male spirit. So
interesting.
there's this, like, type of
Yes.
knowing, or it's even, like, a scent.
Okay.
Like,
Hmm.
sometimes yeah.
Yes,
There's
that's very important to bring up because I
Yes.
remember being talking with you, Hope, and you were like, I'm not certain if I'm seeing a spirit or if it's my own projection or imagination,
Hmm.
fears and stuff. And I was like, well, what about your skin? Do you feel any sensations on your skin or on your body? And a lot of times
Yeah.
you can feel the presence, like the skin
Yeah.
as a
Yes.
sensory
Yes.
organ to
right.
perceive spirits is like very
Hmm.
Mhm.
useful.
So
Yeah.
in the book, my instruction is very much to learn magic from your body. So everything that you see here,
Cooper's
all
book,
of,
by the way, Beyond the Horizons by Cooper Henkel. Just yeah.
yeah, if
I gotta
you,
look.
I would say it's pretty good. I obviously think it's great, but I do teach you how to do the sensing bit. But in terms of learning from the body, everything that we sense is processed, right? So the actual sensations are much more basic, right? And then they're combined to create what we perceive to be so fundamentally real and true that it alters our feedback sensories, right? So if you imagine something's about to hit you, even if it isn't actually going to hit you, you start to feel pain because of how the brains are. Yeah, my book.
Yeah.
It's great. Largely positive reviews. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm glad you liked it. I'm a big fan. Strongly would recommend. The 10 sorceries are the useful bit in the back. But the in terms of how you sense it, right? One of the things that I would want to cite, often the reason that we lean on it is because as humans, as the monkey, right, our brains are over invested in sight. So the sense that you really, really intensely draw on makes sense why when you're trying to expand your senses, you would go there. So if you are super duper, I look at stuff, great. But for like myself, my other senses tend to be a lot more pointed, just particularly hearing, like super sensitive hearing. And so
Oh,
that was where
interesting.
I would focus initially. But a lot of like the meditative rituals, when we talk about like East Asian meditation and stuff like that, the whole point is to break down or to gain as much control over that reality generating interaction between chemical physical sensation and the brain's processing of that. That's how you're able to walk across fire and stuff like that. It is it is in your biology. You can find the magic, right? In as within,
Yes.
so without, right? As above, so below.
Yes. Yes.
That is where I would start. And to everyone's point here, if you are measuring your magic against someone else, you're fucking wasting your time. It's kind
Yeah.
of true in
Oh,
every
yeah.
aspect of life. But you should always be seeking out what works for you and
Mhm.
what will help you. Because if you're trying to be me, you will fail because you're not me. I'm me. You can't be Alex. You can't be Dabby. You can't be like you're you. So be you. That's the whole point of incarnation, is it not? You're a one. Do you figure it out? And you've got it all. It's here. The seed is already planted. You just get to
Mhm.
grow the tree.
So someone had this question. It says, so how do y'all tell the difference between an imitating entity and the spirit you're trying to contact? Sorry if this is too basic.
No, it's a
I feel
great
like
It's
question.
intuitive
not.
isn't able to see them. This is actually a good question. And the thing
Really good
is
question.
that I feel like if you are at the point where you're not certain that you are going to be able to summon the correct entity, and that there's the possibility that there could be some trickster or imitation entity that
Mhm.
comes in, that if that is a thought that exists in your mind, then perhaps you're not ready to be doing a ritual where you're summoning this type of thing, because you have to purge that kind of doubt. And I would say that the doubt of the practitioner about their own paranoia, or their own thought that they might fuck it up, or that there might be something like that is really the number one way that it happens. And so it's really you psyching yourself out. So if you believe that you can do it, you're going to be able to do it. I mean, that would be my hot take on
Yeah.
the situation, but I'm curious what you guys think.
Can I actually start with this because I did have this situation come up 2 weeks ago. So I was trying to contact Medusa, on behalf of somebody else. Uh, I already worked with her before, so I didn't think it would be
She's had a
that
big
difficult.
revival.
Yes, as of the past like few months, it's
I
been
don't like
huge. So
everywhere.
that's why I reached back out to her, and just trying to get some confirmation, I guess, about what is going on with certain situations. And when I originally got Medusa, and I was like, doing my journey to meet her, because that's how I normally communicate with certain entities.
Hmm.
Um, she was like, you don't need to ask about this person. That is my child. I know what's best. And I was like, okay, this is like kind of weird hostility, which like I didn't think anything of it. I literally did not think anything of it. I was like, okay, look, I'm just trying to see what's going on. And then I kept pressing and I was like, wait a second. This doesn't, I don't know if this is her. So then I did something else where I kept praying or like essentially trying to connect or sympathize with her energy like I have before, like just connect with more aspects of her. Like, when we're calling epithets and stuff, just connecting with more aspects. Um, and then a different version of her came through, and then she did answer my questions. And I was like, "Oh shit, that was a little trickster spirit." And I feel like that was prominent because a lot of people are trying to reach out to her right now. So she's just, that trickster is just a little closer, that's imitating her to maybe me or like the groups that I'm in. So that might be why she originally popped up. But if I had not had the experience that I have had for so long, I might have fallen for that, which I actually think a lot of people are, which is why I ran into it. Um, so yeah, I would say there's also like a level of experience and just being open. There's a lot of times where when I was originally working with spirits, I just took everything with a grain of salt, and I would always, always, always ask test questions where I didn't even know the answer to. So if that test question,
You're
which is
bold.
usually answered, yeah, within 3 to 4 days, did not come true or was false, then I would just completely
Oh,
call the
interesting.
session inconclusive. Even if some of it might be true, some of it might be false, or all of it was false, who knows? I just considered it inconclusive because, you know,
Huh.
it gave me a lie, or
Mm.
maybe it didn't have the capability of, telling me the truth. But either way, that would mean that it's not the spirit that I was trying to connect with.
I think I'm probably on the more conservative side of this, where I would say you should have a servitor spirit making that distinction for you. I mean, that's the whole point of a familiar, right? So like
Yeah.
in the book, the reason I tell you to do the things in the order I tell you to do them in is so that you end up in a servitor relationship, right? You conjure the household spirit, which is it the best servitor? No. Does it have a vested interest in your well-being? Yes.
Wait, what's a
And
servitor?
like a spirit that obeys you.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically a spirit you create and empower and charge up, and then it does a function, right? Basically,
Sometimes.
right? Yeah.
Oh, you straight up mean like a spirit that
Well, you
serves
can also
you
guess
outside of
But I mean
servitor
more
that's
quite literally a
existing, I
servitor.
suppose.
As in,
You could
it is a
conjure
spirit.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could conjure existing spirit to be a servitor as well as creating it. Yeah.
I guess I certainly think myself a master magician. So take that for what it's worth, where I'm kind of cocky with this stuff. But the point being,
Yeah.
you should like at least a scrying mirror with elementals bound to it. Like, I don't know what the hell they teach these days, but
I did
usually,
it. I went in
yeah,
raw. I
which
normally
most
open
people
up
do.
my altar. I normally open up my altars and all sorts of shit, but I was like, this guy just needs me to check real quick. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna, you know,
Oh, I'm not. Look now, my advice to other people is
you're not
not.
wrong.
I
I
mean,
Yes.
don't walk the walk.
I have dedicated like protector spirits that I invoke before as part of casting the magic circle, and they're the
Yeah.
ones that are like going to make sure that whatever comes in is like what I'm doing, and they're these like kind of wrathful guardian spirits. They're like, what I
Yeah.
mean? They're like malefic, right?
Well,
So
so
they
that's
will fuck
Oh
up.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They'll keep them
you
out for
occupy
sure.
the watchtowers or the four guardian beasts when we
Yes.
talk about like Chinese magics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't do shit. I was just like, I'm just gonna do this real fast, which obviously, yeah, I mean, in general, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but that was also a good learning experience because it has been a long time since I've ran into a trickster or imitating spirits. So I was like, oh, that was interesting. You know,
Hmm.
just always gotta be on my toes regardless, I guess. But it's nice, it's refreshing because I feel like I'm used to things going so smoothly. Like I kind of almost want I kind of always want some like some excitement.
I hate that I completely understand that and have conjured up plenty of excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone
Alex and I
earlier
talk
was
about
like
this all the time.
in the chat, they were like random events to cultivate #authority. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
That's what your 20s are for.
By the way, guys, I have posted the link to call in. If anyone wants to call in with their own initiation story,
Ooh.
It's in the chat and it's also on Twitter. So check it out. I thought that we did have some other things we were going to talk about, like examples of initiations that take place in pop culture that you guys may, just kind of broaden the definition a bit. And you were thinking about, the juggalos. They're an example of like you basically you get initiated, right? I think the initiation right to be a juggalo is that you have to get a really bad tattoo. You have to have a criminal conviction for something petty, and you have to smell really bad. I think
Something
those
like
are
that.
Right.
those are the requirements, right?
Oh my God. I
Am
had
I?
no idea there was actually requirements to become a
Okay, I'm
juggalo.
joking. I'm joking.
He's
Oh,
joking. No,
oh, I was
I,
like,
I
this is so true. How
no,
come they're all, this makes sense. I was like,
it,
oh,
That
it
does
that's why
make
they're
is.
like
sense.
that.
They
Shit.
do actually have that though. They do. It's the face painting is a big part of it, and who gets
Yeah.
to wear the face painting and what kind of face painting you wear is deeply symbolic. Attending a gathering, which is what they call their like concerts,
Oh my God.
that is a big deal. And it's like we could talk about drag communities as occult orders where you are initiated into it, a drag family, right? You take a name, you inherit names, you have traditions, you have claims over certain areas and certain circuits. Like there are many kinds of occult orders. And civic magic is a big thing that I think people overlook when we talk about being part of a government is a magical act, all the same as joining a church or a religion. Like just because it is part of the mundane world does not exempt it from magic, because remember, as above, so below means an equal sign. It's all the same shit. There is no mundane thing that is not also magical. There is no magical thing that is not also mundane. They are
Yeah,
the same thing.
exactly.
Shoot. Actually, can I add a note real quick that I forgot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so actually with the initiations, when I did the initiation, we were also told like, hey, some of your guys' lives might completely change from doing this initiation, and some of your guys' lives might stay the same. But it's because it's like energetically shifting you
Mm.
in a certain way. You're shifting your consciousness. Certain people in the group definitely went through big transformations, and we talked about
Mm.
before how our rock bottoms are also initiations of sorts. It's a call to
Mhm.
action, and that's really what initiations also can be, which is a call to action.
Crowley
But if
talks
you've
about
already
this.
done the action, then you getting the initiation is just making everything kind of like click.
Mm. Oftentimes, again, with magic, the ritual, by the time you've actually done the ritual working, the magic is already underway. The ritual's just the show for yourself, often.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had the same thought, Cooper. I was going to say the same thing, that like the magic is working when you can start to see the results of the working before you've actually
Yeah.
completed the ritual, right? That's when you know that like you're on it. It's like, oh yeah, here it comes.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Jupiter ritual I did recently was like that, and that it's always yeah, you always love that when that
And the
happens.
Venus one too.
Venus one too. They all have been. They've all been like that.
Mm.
But yeah. Um well, look, speaking of magic and like practicing it, I mean, Dabby, OccultHours, she's got a great practice. We should talk about that now, especially what I want to talk about with
Yes.
Dabby is her oils, right? So her oils are
Yes.
really, actually really fire. I've got some of her psychic
Thank you.
oil, and I've used it.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been experimenting where sometimes I'll use it before a reading, sometimes I won't. When I use it, I definitely notice a difference, and it's helped me with with some personal things, like giving me insight into stuff, and it's really good for meditation. She has other types of oils that we've all tried and used when we've gone out and stuff, like oils to get
Yes.
attention and free stuff. So, she's got a lot of different stuff there. I'd recommend her stuff.
Thank
She's also,
you.
well, tell us
Thank
about
you.
some of
Thank
the
you.
other things you offered.
Okay, so I make magical tools and products, candles, oils, also just like literally random talismans and really any custom spell work services that people want. I also recently started doing Reiki, so hands-on work with clients now. But yeah, so some of the oils that I have. Okay, so first off, my original oils, which is the fast cash oil, the hot attraction oil, and the psychic oil, were like my babies, like my bread and butters. When I first started making products, like I had made those for myself originally, and then I started sharing it with friends that I consider muggles, and they started getting results. So then the psychic oil in particular, I had my friends I actually was inspired by Paulo Mayombe when I made that, like Paulo Mayombe stuff. But
Soon as you said fast magic, I was like, oh, someone's been playing with hoodoos, huh?
yeah, so the psychic enhancement oil, I had some friends, again, muggles, like dab it on their eyelids before bed, on their temples and their third eye, and then go to bed. After doing that for at least 3 days, they started having vivid dreams every day, say if they kept up with the
Wow.
oil. Um, but then also I've had friends that have tried it and have right before bed apply it and then say, show me what this person thinks of me, and then they go to sleep and actually have a dream of that. But I've had other people try to like apply the oils with a specific intention, and then they're like, show me this, and then instead their dream is like them flying on a Pegasus, like a super vivid dream of them like flying on a Pegasus. So there
That's
is a
cool.
little, yeah, I think there is a little bit of a variance there depending on maybe like the current state that the person is in or how open their psychic abilities are. But without a doubt,
Right.
I've like figured out at least how to like force vivid dreams to happen. And
Yeah.
then the hot attraction oil. Oh my God. Actually, the reviews that I get from that are my absolute favorite because it's some crazy shit sometimes. Like some people are like, um, I mean, this might not sound good, but some guys have told me like, "Oh my God, I've been hit on cougars all week. I don't know what's going on." And I'm like, "Well, do you like them?" And they're like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Okay."
There you
Then
go.
great.
Yeah,
The intended effects are happening.
yeah. And then the fast cash oil, of course, if you apply it every day, um, you can either get like stuff for free or discounts or make more money. So I always say like all of these oils, the hot attraction and the fast cash oil is just really good for like if you're a waiter or a server, and
Mm,
tip based jobs do really good if you apply those on your hands. And yeah, so I have a bunch of products, but the oils are some of my favorite.
I love your oils, by the way. I
I gotta
remember,
bring you some. I'm gonna bring you
yeah,
some. Thanks,
I
Sap.
the
Yeah, yeah.
only one that like I'm like I don't want to use because it's too strong is
Yeah.
not too strong, but is going to do the intended effect as a psychic one. And for
Okay.
me, like I have like a love-hate relationship with like my own like psychic magical
Mm.
abilities. Because on one hand, I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm like changing my circumstances. I'm healing my heart. But then on the other hand, I'm like, oh, what is that in the corner? What is it doing
Yeah.
there? So that's like that's been like the downside for me. Like I'm not like you guys where like the Scorpios and like I don't know what Cooper your chart looks like. I just know you're a Taurus, but I like I love magic and I love the occult and I like I if I'm not listening to you guys talk about this, I will be watching someone else on YouTube or reading a book on this. So I do love it. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh, it's not a demon. Like, why did I touch that book? I'm such a scaredy cat.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. Hope, do you want to talk about that?
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a demon story. I so
She bought like,
Go
what's the
Lesser
Isha.
Key of
Lesser Key,
Solomon.
Lesser Key of Solomon,
Okay.
and
Oh.
Yeah.
I decided not to say anything when she was buying it because I thought that this would be interesting.
And also,
Jesus
pot help
Christ.
kettle. I was like, what did you
So
take her to your favorite little shop?
so we were in my neighborhood because we're in a long distance relationship. He lives in Indiana, I live in California. And by the way, Kid Mix it says, would hot attraction help if you're looking for clients?
If you mix that, yes, but if you mix that with the fast cash oil, it does both. I mean, it like
You need
helps
both.
everything work. Yeah,
Yeah.
the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. Just
Okay,
yeah,
go back.
just wanted to do that. So yeah, so I bought the Lesser Key of Solomon, and I bought it with the intention of like, because there's also a section in there on like how to conjure angels, and so I thought, oh, that would be interesting. Also, like, I wanna know who the demons are. Like, that sounds
course.
kind of interesting.
Don't play. You are in a room
Yeah.
with sinners. You wanted to talk to a demon.
I know. I didn't want
We-
to talk to a demon. I just wanted to
Yeah.
know what they were. And so Alex and I, we read through the book together. We went through all the pages. We were like, oh, okay, like this one does this one does that.
I was
Oh, look, there's a
reading out the
pattern.
descriptions of the
A
demons
lot of them
on
are.
the beach.
Yes, we're on the
Really?
beach and we're reading it, and we were like, we were on the beach reading this book with like chips,
The
and
Cheshire Cat leads Alice further into Wonderland.
gosh. Yes, you are my Cheshire Cat. Oh my god. So anyway, so I
He's
read this
even
book
got
and
the grin.
we're like, he does have the grin. Yeah, so Alex is my Cheshire Cat. And I was reading the book and we're like, oh yeah, there's themes here. A lot of them are kings, a lot of them have legions, and then so Alex was making these really interesting points about like, yeah, he has this theory that like I don't actually, Alex, I'm not gonna say it. I'll let you say it at some point. Anyway, so
Remember what you're talking about?
okay, well, he says so many things to me, so many theories, so many stories. Anyways, so he's like my occult encyclopedia. So, I have the book. I take it back home, and it's been a few months, and I started to think about the book. I started to think, oh, what if I did summon a demon? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. And this happens, and I'm like,
course
oh,
it
I mean, I can't be that bad. I can't be that bad. And
I
I'm like,
just bought a baggie
no.
of cocaine to find out what buying cocaine was like. I would never want to try the cocaine. It's just been
Until you buy the bag and
and
hold
then
it
the
long
baggie
enough.
sits in your drawer for 3 months, and all you do is think about, well, the baggie can't be that bad. It's been in there for 3 months. Not as bad as that.
It's
Just
probably
try
less
a little bit
potent
of
now,
cocaine.
It probably doesn't
I
hit as
mean,
hard now.
yes.
Again,
I mean,
I don't know why you're playing coy. There you are.
and
Okay, I've done it. We've done it. We've all done it.
That's why we're all like, mhm.
I mean, cocaine is really awesome, right? We can't
I
deny.
haven't done cocaine because I know I can't come back. I've done a lot, but I
Obviously,
know
this is
for
hypothetical.
a fact I'm not coming back.
So
don't do drugs.
I keep hearing it, and by the way, guys, I never think about any of the other books on my shelf. I never think about them, and I'm starting to think. I'm like, oh, like what if I did that? What if I did that? And then I'm like, no. So then we're out there on the phone, and I'm telling him about this, and he was like, oh. He was like, the book's beckoning you. And then I was like, what? He was like, yeah, hey, don't ever just leave the book open, okay? And I was like, why are you telling me this now? Like, you were with me when I bought this book.
The laughs.
I was gonna say, as if you don't know who this is. Like, yeah, that tracks.
I was like, when were you gonna tell me this? And he was like, some things you need to learn on your own.
True.
Imagine if I had responded that way to you.
I wouldn't have been surprised, honestly.
No, I mean to Alex. He knows
Alex?
what I'm talking about. Imagine if I was that blasé. Okay, I'll just wait for you to fall fully on your fucking face here and go ahead and do what you were about to do.
Well, to be fair, when I sought your help, I had already fallen on my face at that point.
Yes, fair enough, but not as far as you were going to. There was
Oh
further
my
falling
God,
to be done.
I have one of those stories too.
Hey,
Yeah. This might be too much tea.
I
think we've said enough hot tea.
That's hot
And
tea.
on that
Really, I was about to spill more. I
Oh
thought
yeah,
I
you
wasn't in
keep
hard
spilling.
enough.
I just mean I'm not
Get
trying to
it.
ride Alex's ass too hard.
Oh, Alex is. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I gotta let him breathe
No,
a
I
little
already know what he's. Yeah.
Look,
I think I do. I think I
can
know
only
too.
imagine.
the only thing that is happening here with Hope in the situation with the book is that she's got I mean,
Yeah.
The
it's a
temptation.
mental attachment that she is.
Yeah.
She hasn't done anything to be at any real risk from these.
Elementals are
just
playing with you.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I have a book of the Lesser Key of Solomon on my bookshelf, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same effect on me because, I know what it is and I can place it in its proper context. And when you confront these kind of dark forces at first, I mean, really what you're confronting is the dark forces within yourself, right? And your
Yes.
Yeah.
fear of the darkness within yourself.
Yeah.
And that's really what you have to conquer before you can put these forces in their proper place and perspective.
Yeah.
So, why would I deprive you of the experience of that, right?
Yeah. It's because, if they know you're a little curious, they will play on that as well, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, because I remember messaging you too, Dabby, about
Yes.
this.
Yes.
I was contacting all of my, not all, but like, my magical friends, like, what do I do? But what I did end up doing
Oh my
was
God.
I ended up just dropping it off at like one of those like pick those like book trading spots, which I hope like someone, I don't know. I just had to like leave it somewhere and now now that it's kind of like out of my home, I took a shower and it's always in my showers and I'm able to talk to like my ancestors or get in touch with like my own spirits. And it wasn't there that I was like I summoned like my ancestors because those are the spirits that I work with are like my ancestors. And I was like, please like tell me what I need to do because I can't stop thinking about it. And then so they were like, and then so I realized, okay, this is like your shadow self. It's acting up because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And you need to, there's a integration process that needs to happen and yada, yada, yada. So that's my demon book story. And you know what? It was a great learning experience. So you were right about that. But I just wish you would
Wait,
have told me sooner.
I really thought it was going to
say-
go in another direction.
No, it was. I'm pretty like, like once I'm like, oh, I have like I have like hard limits and boundaries with magic and the occult.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because I grew up in like an evangelical church, so I still have some of that like with some of that like imprinted upon me like don't work with demons like stuff like that. So I am pretty
But
tame in my magic.
I was gonna say it's also okay to like not be like, when you're ready, you're ready. Because I was gonna say that's how it was for me. Like I was obviously
Mm.
curious and reading about everything, but it's not like I actually tried to, I wouldn't say work with them in earnest, but work with them for certain things until I was comfortable and ready to possibly fuck up my life. So obviously I had a
Whoa,
lot of things in order to not fuck up my life.
I see.
But yeah, I created the space to do that, and I only did it too because well, one, clipothic initiation stuff, so
Mhm.
clipothic pathworking, which I had to finish since I had already done the Sephiroth, and I'm also initiated. But
The
also
dark side of
because
the tree of life, right?
yeah, but
Mhm.
also because like I've always been a skeptic. Like when I originally joined the Golden Dawn, it was because I was thinking like, no, this order has to be bullshit after like reading into it. And so the only way to know if it was bullshit or not was to literally go and join and learn from them directly. To which I realized, holy fuck, I've been humbled a million times at this point because their stuff does work. So yeah, like I was just
Yeah,
saying,
every time you try and test
yeah,
magic, it's like, yeah, surprise, it works.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I was like, "Ooh, I'll eat my words here."
um, so I actually need to drop off. I'm at my sister's place and I need to go spend quality time with them now. So I will be saying my goodbyes. Um, Alex is farming content for the show by putting hope in situations. Is that what this was all about?
Happy
We
side
Jake,
have
we
effect.
more
found out.
stories, by the way. We have a lot more stories. Um, yeah, Alex has been my savior in a lot of different situations. Um, but yeah, I need to
Well,
go.
we
I'm
did what?
sorry.
I guess 2 exorcisms on you.
He's done 2 exorcisms on me. Because I went to Crete.
Exorcisms. She had just like some weird spirits following around
Okay.
that she picked up. That's not an
I was
actual
like,
exorcism.
why are you doing
It was
possession
actually
work?
more just like a
Girl, you don't even know how to path work and you're trying to host demons? You need to slow the fuck down. Yeah, okay. You got followed by some energies. That makes much more sense. I was
Yeah.
like,
That's what happened.
do I need to fly
exorcism.
down to
Just
LA? Do
just
you
a
need
cute word for it.
I know, my
do I need to
Cooper.
psychically sever you? Are you are you okay? Yes,
It-
you're
no,
fine.
I went to so the gist of the story is that I went to Crete, which is this Grecian, which is an island. It's a Grecian island, and it's
Old magic.
Zeus's birthplace. Come on.
yes, and I went
Screaming.
to yeah, I went to the Minoan Palace, like the ruins,
Hmm.
and this was like I was in one of like my energetic, like my spiritually energetic high states, and I've talked about this to Dabby and like Alex about how like there's just like moments where you're like you feel really in touch and like really psychic, and you feel like everything's going really well. So at this point, I didn't know anything about protection magic. So I went to this Minoan ruin, and I sat in this little like area, and I was like, "All right, who wants to talk to me?"
For fuck's sake.
Yeah,
I know, right? That was my reaction.
Oh,
bad idea. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I was like, oh my God.
Here is all of my money and jewelry. I
Yeah.
certainly hope no pickpockets arrive. I'm going to close my eyes and let anyone do anything.
Fuck.
Can you
Fuck.
believe I got robbed in Greece?
So yes, so then she picks up this hitchhiker.
Two.
You know.
I picked up 2 hitchhikers
It's never
from
one.
doing that. Yeah. And the problem was is that
The first one or the second one, the first ritual, because you're like, oh, I think it's something else. I think it's a nice spirit. It's a little boy. He can't be that.
it was a little boy.
Oh my.
And then I was like, I was like, I really think we need to get rid of this one and send this one back to the abyss. And she's like, no, let's not do that. And now then we ended up having to just do another ritual to get rid of that one like 6 months later. So
Yeah. It was rough. But in the process, I did a lot of Saturn magic, which was really great. And Saturn's crazy, but that's a whole nother episode.
yeah, we
Saturn's
wanted to do an
crazy though.
episode about planetary magic. Yeah.
Yes, we need to do an episode on planetary magic. Yeah.
But we should cover the more basics first. I think we should do the circle casting because so many people, some people, they're buying talismans or whatever, or doing these kind of planetary rituals. They're just kind of skipping straight ahead to this and not even casting circles, right? So it's like
Like me.
okay, guys, clearly we need to intervene here and educate you for your own good.
Oh, we can't just go straight into the demon magic.
I mean, you can. That's the problem is you can go straight into it. You just shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, demons is a subject that I have a lot to say about, but it's this.
All right. Episode idea: demons.
Oh, God.
But also it's like, hey, you guys, you guys are all like chemistry students. I'm going to give you the formula for how to make meth, but nobody's going to make it here.
Correct.
Okay?
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, if we're talking about irresponsible teachers, I'll fall into that category for damn sure.
I think it's hard not to if you're, in the magical.
I mean, I have
Yeah.
managed to resist the temptation, at least knowingly. Just because, I mean, no story ever ends good about the magician working with the demon, right? It always ends up with the demon tricking the magician.
Yeah.
Flamel is about as close as you get in the mythos of like it went well, and even then, the intelligence is what's the difference between a demon?
Oh yeah, intelligences.
Isn't that a fun
Oh.
conversation?
Yeah, that's the kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
stuff. Yeah. People say I work with the clip-off, but whatever. Haters, right?
Yeah, haters.
Like,
Haters will
I've
say you work with the
been called the
dog.
Antichrist. It's fine.
I was in the
All right.
Sephiroth and I asked
Hope-
about your name and nobody heard about you.
Ooh.
So you gotta
Oh my
tell them.
god, that's
That's what I'm gonna
This.
say to them.
This.
Yeah.
I can tell Hope you're one. You need to go. You need to jump
I
off.
have to go. I have to go.
She
Yeah.
needs to take care of something else. So we will bid adieu to the lovely Hope. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Our shows, honestly, we need to just like time them to be like 3 hours and just be like, this is how long it's gonna be. That's just the duration. But I'm at my sister's house now, so I gotta go. But yeah, again, had such a great time. And Dabby, thank you so much for coming on the show. I
Thank you
hope
for
you
having
come
me.
on again. You're such you're
Please
just
let me
great.
know.
And
yeah. At least
you have
in
a
the
plethora of
Q&A
knowledge.
sections,
Yeah. We were
we got those
thinking we could
call-ins
have
every
like
week.
a
Yeah.
This is so
segment
fun.
that you could come back for like ask the witch doctor or something.
Yes. Yes, the witch doctor. Yeah, the witch king and the witch doctor.
Yes.
I want to
Okay.
throw this out there while we're doing it. Within the Cooper lexicon of magicians, I tend to categorize people by the type of magician I would see them as. And I do think it would be interesting to have a panel by those types. And so
Oh.
that Alex and Dabby would both fall into the enchanter variety of magician by my eyes. So it would be really interesting to find like maybe another pair who are drawing on another style and having that kind of
I
ask
know
the
some
enchanters.
spell workers that we could have on.
Yeah, I'm certain it would not be hard to find people who fit the 5 categories across that. But yeah,
Okay.
I would
That would be
definitely
cool.
we'll have to have you back for sure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm honored, you guys. This was awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
Well,
so
thank
much for
you.
having me.
Awesome. Have a good night, guys.
Bye,
Well,
guys.
Stay spooky.
Yep. Stay spooky.
Okay.